We have the great and powerful Oz on the show,
Yes.
Lorne Michaels.
Became the unintentional star of the podcast because he's the touchstone for all the Saturday Night Live people is Lorne Michaels.
Yeah, the common denominator.
The touchstone, the common denominator, the
Touchdonator.
detonator, the thing that everyone talks
Yeah.
about a lot. That's more unwieldy than the touchstone. But we were thrilled to get him, and
He's our most commonly asked guest. When will you have Lorne?
when will you have Lorne?
And he was very cool to do this because he doesn't do a lot of stuff and he doesn't like to be bothered. And I wouldn't either. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, I took a chance. I called him up at home, and I said, "Lorne, hi, this is Dana. And
Don't hang up.
we'd love you to come on talk on our podcast."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I don't know who this is, but no, I don't know." So I can't even do it.
No, he
now.
was great. So he comes in and he came to the house and did it. And, it really reminded me of being back at SNL because me, you, him, it's like sitting at read-through or sitting in a meeting and you have that reverence for him and you want to make him laugh. He's like a father figure in a weird way, A lot of pretty much everything I've had is based on SNL and him keep me on there. So
He's
Interesting.
very
All
interesting
interesting.
guy to talk to. He's as smart as they come. And I don't know, I probably should have brought up my Lorne impression, but I've talked to him about it off mic before at a restaurant, then I got him at, in 86 when he was in during the trying to pick the show. I still have no fucking first act. And that was the first time I got his rhythm. And then we talk about Lorneisms on the show. You never leave a hit. And he's a brilliant guy. I mean, he really is fun to listen to.
you know what's a funny one? I can't say who it was, but someone we know did a movie and he was a pretty big star and it opened very poorly. And I was in a limo with Lorne and I go, do you think he'll get another movie? And he goes, well, not every studio wants to lose $30 million and work with an asshole. Some do. Not all of them.
Well, that's kind of his humor.
Yeah, that's exactly a good Lorne humor.
This is what Lorne would say, his sense of humor. So
Hysterical.
we're at the meeting and it's the last show. And you go, this is our last show. We have a 2-week break. So it'd be like really, really nice if the show was really good instead of a bad show. He would do that.
No one take a dive tonight. We're being reviewed.
So, he's just a fascinating character. We got to sit with him for a long
And
time.
he proved to be very fascinating.
And
Everything he said, we hung on.
Hey, we didn't talk over. Keep talking.
we didn't even talk over. Dana.
We didn't even. So we didn't. We had reverence
apologize
for
for
him.
not talking over the guests.
Because he's a great storyteller, and we get into a lot of things. We get into the current cast and his emotional relationship with cast members and how long he has been there.
50th anniversary
Never
coming
happened
up.
before in the history of television. A guy producing a show for a half century. So it's an amazing. You were incredible in this interview, David, I have to say.
Dana, you really sparkled. All right, here he is, our main man.
Main man, Lorne Michaels.
Conan's got some money coming in. First of all, we want to thank you for coming in. You're responsible for pretty much everything in my life.
Yes.
In the
First,
comedy
we have
world.
to embarrass you and thank you.
Yeah.
We had no plan for this podcast,
This
no
won't-
meeting.
This won't be in any way
No,
used.
we'll cut
It's
this
not
part.
used or aired.
But to our
This is just a
surprise and delight, everyone who was on the podcast started talking and saying nice things about you, how much they love you. So we just thought, well, can we get him to come on? So here
Very
we
nice.
Well, I haven't done anything else.
are. That's the amazing part.
Yeah. But as I said, I have a background in radio.
Ratty chips.
Healthy little crackers.
Lorne is
Good.
getting
I'm just-
snacks.
What will make the least noise? Because radio.
Can we open the chips? Make a lot of noise and then not as much noise.
Do you like flaming hot? I don't know if that's for
I'm
you.
just reaching for
You'll
whatever's
take anything?
closest.
Anything.
Yes.
Don't worry about the noise.
Don't worry about the noise, and we'll. I'm sorry. And there's protein bars if you're stuck. So if you're really stuck, just grab those. Those are not too loud. I'll just talk to Dana for a while.
Are you staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel?
I am.
In the Margarita
Pete
room? Or?
Davidson's there because they're doing this show Bupkis.
Oh, okay.
which
And
is
But
that's
you have
that's a-
touchstones. One is the Beverly Hills Hotel, which you're a huge fan of. In Aspen, you stay at the what?
Aspen was more houses, I
Okay.
think.
St. Bart's is another touchstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Amagansett.
Yeah.
I remember when
And now Maine.
Oh, you did finally pull the trigger.
Maine.
Maine.
I wasn't CC'd on that. So Maine,
I'll show you pictures.
that's pretty far out there. I don't
You
think.
can't show them. because
We
you're
talked
not on
about that
television.
last
there an
time.
improv
As you get
there?
a little older, you're pretty young. You want to get into the country and you want to get in wide open spaces.
And you want to get to the landscape of your childhood.
Yes.
And this is as close to Canada as you can get without going to Canada.
Oh, is that what it is?
Nice.
You
Okay.
get sort of. Yeah, you're Canadian. So, and what part of Canada? Just real quick.
Toronto.
What part is this near or what part?
But you were sort of Toronto, am I
Toronto,
right?
Yeah.
I told you, Dana.
But I left in 1972. It's changed since then.
Yes, and was the reason we did Tommy Boy in Toronto because of that, or was it a tax?
No, I think that was Paramount was just they would have done it in Budapest if it was cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually where movies.
Because
What
flow.
was the cost of Tommy Boy versus Wayne's World 1? I just want to know about.
don't know.
We were
Contest.
13.5 or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
on
12.
Wayne's World?
35 days of filming. And which film is your personal favorite
Did
between those
we
two?
weren't 35. I think we were more like 25.
Oh, could have been. It seemed like that.
35 million?
No. 25 days of shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Very quick, one take. Penelope Spheris.
Towards the end, when Howard Koch was
Junior.
Hawk Koch
Hot Koch.
was they were doing the board and Paramount person that I was who was giving us direction said, if you can make this movie for 12.5, I'll leave you alone. And that was sort of the whole idea of it. And then we had an extra day or two. And at one point, the Rob Lowe character was going to have Dennis Hopper as a father. And so that there was a dynamic between the two of them, which would play off in the sense of the counterpoint. And then they said, don't have the extra 2 days. So
Oh, that went
to
away.
use Mike Myers' phrase, we smushed it into one character, and that was Rob.
Oh, okay.
And he was great. Kurt Fuller. That was ended up being lightning in a bottle. I only saw the previews, and I remember been told before where the Paramount guy came back. We did the previews. Mike and I are possessed while they're watching ourselves. We're kind of depressed.
Oh, probably
and
John
he says,
Goldman.
it's got Ghostbusters numbers. Let's eat. Right? That's what he's... Was that
No,
right?
we were at
No?
a restaurant. We were
Okay.
No,
How did
Dana.
you remember
because I
it?
was older.
I was dressed as Garth. So.
We did, for sentimental reasons, a preview in Wayne, New Jersey, because it had a multiplex.
I think that's where it was. Yeah.
And then we went to a restaurant that was happening in Soho, which had a tin roof. And everybody was ordering. Mike was in complete depression because it wasn't the movie he thought he wanted. It was all that. And he said, it got an 86, let's eat.
86. Okay. I missed it by
86
9
for those
points.
of you at home is higher than 80.
There's 2 boxes, so it means
Yeah, is that a
most
top
people are in
2 boxer?
the top
Yeah.
2 boxes.
Yes. And also that it added up to that. It could be 88, it could be 91, but it was something where he thought, why would you want to keep talking?
Oh, we won.
We
got it,
won.
We
Yeah,
won.
Take the win. And that was sort of, it took Mike a while to get used to it. And then he went into the editing room but it was all there. It was all there in that first cut. And part of it was just how fast it moved and the exuberance of it. And as I say, most people in America, when they're choosing any kind of entertainment, the phrase "looks like fun" is the most
Helps, yeah.
is the top.
And I figured out for myself later why so popular. I thought the 2 so-called losers in town, they drop AMC Pacer, live with their parents, are having way more fun than anyone in the town.
Yeah.
So that's like, who wouldn't want to live in that world? I
And
want to
Tommy
be
Boy, I remember you took me to Chili's after, and
is that what
it wasn't quite
Tommy
as nice.
Boy's was
I-
made for $35 million. No,
No,
what
Tommy
is
Boy is probably around the same, like
same thing?
12
Same
to
Because it was
14.
always, from the studio, it was always, these movies have to be made for a price. $15, $20 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, we can do this for 20. No, I said 15 to 20. We're going to aim for 15, but we may end up at 20. But once that happened, you were left alone. I think because nobody considered it important, which is a big plus.
Yeah.
You know,
And I could watch Tommy Boy and be really comfortable because I'm not worrying or seeing myself.
Yeah.
And just thought it was the start of David's film career. But for Chris, it feels to me like it captured Chris completely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like his
And it
physical
got-
comedy, his
and it got the
likability.
sentimental side, which was kind of him fighting for the walk through the factory and the scene in the boat. And
And the bagpipes,
Yes.
that was great.
It's like Three Amigos. It
Yeah.
just gets shinier and brighter, as Paul would say.
and also, they're meant to be fun.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And everyone, I think when somebody asked me in an interview about Wayne's World, what were you aiming for? And I said, really a confection, because I said, in a Marx Brothers movie, no one cares whether Fredonia won the war. It's going to go it's going to go 80, 90 minutes. It's going to be as funny as it can be. And then it's going to good night. And everybody's happy. And so the idea that you're going to be tied to a plot and have to stick with scenes that didn't work because they're going to tell the story, as opposed to, Wayne's World's boy has show, boy loses show, boy sees girl, boy.
I mean, listen, to Tommy Boy, we always say, like, if you went and pitched a movie of two guys selling brake pads in Ohio, you go, we got to do this. Of
course.
It just really, I think it was Lorne saying, these two are kind of funny around the office. And I think he told the Turners, Bonnie and Terry Turner, say, can you write something about that? And it was,
They were
would
great.
get how
Are
we
great.
were goofy around the office and then said, if you can, and they did a good job of doing that. And then you kind
And
of
there'd been
steered
a
it.
moment or two in Coneheads too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which had already established.
Yeah.
And Mike, despite the best efforts of, Mike and Dana, was in Wayne's World. And
We had a bit of a competition. Yes. That's what Paul would say
I
about
think
him and John.
you heard cheers of the audience, and then they were,
Yeah.
But we've lived long enough to be
Yes,
very good
generous.
friends
Yes.
and love each other. The one thing of my notes to ask you, why did you cast me? What was
originally at the show.
on SNL?
Well, because there was no Garth. There was only Wayne at the start.
But I mean, why did you cast me on SNL?
Oh, in SNL.
No, I can
Because
answer this.
that was a huge spot, and
Yeah.
then you took me and you didn't take a lot of brilliant people.
Was
so
it Jim Carrey?
I'm very grateful for it. But
No, I didn't see Jim Carrey. Frankie Davis
Oh, they did.
someone else
saw,
may have
and
seen him.
somebody else. And they said, it's too big for you.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like,
looking
you
back,
should
I
let
see
me
it.
make the decision.
Well, I think you did cast it. I don't know if like a situation comedy, but like it was different. Lovitz was a flavor. Phil was a role, and somehow I fit in there. And you rolled the dice, and I'm ever grateful for it. But it seems at the time I did not have a lot of confidence. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, I think Lovitz was there from the year before.
Yeah, he was the
There
kingpin
that
at the time.
Twilight Zone cruel thing. That,
You burnt the cast.
Yes,
out.
exactly.
Everyone got burned up in a fire.
I think that was Franken. And
Like Lauren goes, I
Sounds
sort of
like
just
yeah.
skimmed that sketch. I didn't really.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I sort of knew you'd fit from.
Thank God.
What was the name of the club? Igby's?
You saw. Well, that was
Igby's,
for people who
yeah.
don't know, but now I'm here with Lorne.
Yeah.
I had auditioned other times. They said you were coming around. I didn't want to do it at the Comedy Store. And then Rosie O'Donnell was there. I got 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to go on. First of all, I'm terrified.
Right.
Because it's a dream like everyone else. You come through the door. There he is. Then Brandon Tartikoff, the head of the network.
Tartar sauce.
And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm so nervous. And then Cher. And they sat down in the club. Now welcome Dana Flarney.
I'm at Igby's.
So it was,
I that was probably my only night with the two of them. But,
I know.
but we
the
were
nerves.
somewhere, and I think Cher said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go see somebody I think is good in the club." "Oh, I'll come." And then Brandon went, "Well, I want to go too," or he was first. I don't remember the order, but
Yeah.
And they all laughed, but that wasn't the deciding factor. It was just
would be
that
for me.
you had clear. I mean, you were funny, and you could never much. Anytime you talk about funny for longer than a minute, you're
No,
not funny. It's not good.
it's still whimsical that I found myself to that place at that time.
No, and also I'd never been there before, probably since. And as I said, I haven't been with those people either. But I do know Cher, I guess.
And when I've run into her, she says, I was there when you were discovered.
No. And
But
anyway.
anyway,
Her laugh was so open
yes.
and nice, and she just wanted.
everyone to win. Yeah.
Also, if Dana's doing, I don't mean to jump in, but if he's doing Church Lady, Chopping Broccoli, things that literally in your head you could probably just pluck and put right on the show. There's
First show.
nothing to do different.
The whimsy of the Church Lady, because it was part of the set, is probably 5 minutes of the character. And then I remember, well, okay, we'll try it. Who knew? And I worked with your ex-wife, Rosie Schuster, for a month. You assigned me to a writer. She was the one who said church chat because we thought of a talk show.
Yeah,
and I remember bringing the 2 dresses into you. One was a little more feminine, and you just pointed to the one we used.
Yeah.
And then as it turns out, it was such a great thing for the show because I had Phil and Jan coming in and being brilliant, and or Sigourney Weaver the first show, and Victoria Jackson.
And
so it was
also
perfect.
Sean Penn.
And then Sean Penn, and then all these religious scandals. So again, that was a freaky, lucky thing for all of us.
I think it was like very often with the character, you have to find, or at least my end of it is, you have to find the context. With Mike and you in Wayne's World, it was like he had a very specific look in mind, which was the basement, stairs coming down. Nora played the mother.
Yes. Hair metal thing.
The Garth thing was, I think you should do it with Dana, and somehow that evolved.
That was your suggestion. Yeah, for sure.
But and then the moment it worked, it was like on a 10-1, and it played pretty well because it was fresh and had energy and it looked like fun, and it was. And then after that, Mike had been at the show 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, something like that.
But after that, it was like, why are we in that corner?
Right.
Yeah. And you're in that corner because you designed a set that had the stairs and
an
whatever.
entrance and an exit.
You're as far from the audience as possible. So from that point on, I think it moved to home base. And, and that was like, we don't need the background.
Right. Which is incredibly powerful.
Home base
to be
is
at home
right
base.
in front of the
You
audience.
can really
directly
time the laughs.
Where the monologue is. Where the monologue is. I'm just telling people at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where it's like right at the audience, right down the camera.
As the warm-up, which was designed a certain way and is still the same, you're moving down, like somebody does, now it's Che.
Right.
And then Keenan comes out and sings with the girls. And then you the lights start to go down and you're looking at that spot.
Yeah.
Or you're looking where the cold opening is going to be.
You're trained.
And so you get a sense of where the focus is.
It's just amazing, Lorne, that you're still there. And I've come back a few times and did update or whatever. You can't get past it. I mean, you'll never forget it. And I think that for all of us who are unknown, go on the show, and for the audience to see Will Ferrell do what he did, see how David evolved. Yeah. It's such an amazing, visceral experience. There's nothing like it. And the music and the way you kept it the same is extraordinary, that you didn't let any regime trick you out and change it.
What's interesting is there's 4 new people coming in. And
it's amazing.
Because of the pandemic, we couldn't there was no place for everyone to go. So we kept adding people because you have to add people every year. And suddenly we have like 23 people. And you go like, this is insane.
Because the pandemic, take them off
and
the Zoom.
Everybody's angry because they're not getting enough playing time. And so, and then people left. And so it was so much fun seeing these new people because they're exactly where you should start. They've never been on television. They don't know. They don't generally, if they have representation, it's primitive. And you just sort of see them, and there's like that exuberance and excitement, and it just shows, and that energy shows. And so when you start with people who've never been on television, and the audience gets to be part of that process and live with them through it, then I used to say, I'm going to say it now again, that the 4 longest years of your life are high school.
Yes.
You don't have any money. You don't have a car.
Any girls.
And so staying up late with friends or staying up late by yourself to like 1 o'clock in the morning is like a really exciting thing. So when people say the best cast that ever did it, generally it's when they were in high school.
Totally.
So if they, and they go, oh, well, no, the best was, you and Hartman and you know, when you go and follow. And
You go, when were you in high school? You go, oh, exactly.
no, I mean,
Yeah, no, there's
it was
no-
just
there's no
It's
everybody
true.
had
And you have the time.
Yeah.
And you talk about it with your friends. That's the only game in town.
Yeah.
Especially back then. Like that. I mean, there's more competition now, and it's great that you're still crushing it because with so many things to choose from, that was, I think when you have a transition kind of now where some are leaving that, more familiar faces.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anyone's not as good. It's just some people get more opportunities coming up.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened. It took me longer to get my footing when we had Dana. Unfortunately, it was just too good. It was.
Oh no, and
when you
also I
look
think
back-
Ben Stiller came in at the same time as Mike did.
Yes.
But he sort of saw this could be a long wait. Because Sandler, everybody was there and it was killing it. And what was interesting about that time was the only people who liked it were the audience. Critically, it wasn't.
No,
so
we were
now it's a,
hated,
it's a golden age now.
Yeah, we
But,
were
you
not
know,
like,
and you
now,
go,
Barstool Sports said we were a great we were the best cast, and then back then they were like, this is the worst bunch of assholes, untalented
Even
humps.
when we had, on a given night back in the late 90s, or early 90s, sorry, late 80s, we would have Toonses. I'm talking about just, we'd have a Sprockets. Maybe I'd do Bush or Perot or McLaughlin Group. Mike might do Talking Lady, whatever her name was. But we had so many weapons. Sandler
Richmond.
would sing a song. David would do a Hollywood Minute.
Yeah.
So there was a given moment in time you must have felt
Coffee
like,
machine.
hey, I got a lot of
and you
things
know,
to hit here.
we're doing that documentary on Jim Downey, which
I talked to him for 4 hours.
it's only going to take 10 years. But because you
awesome.
can't
They're
rush,
gonna use 3
can't
minutes
rush
of that.
something like that. But my son Eddie is working on it, and
Great.
he grew up kind of on the show, et cetera, but doesn't really know that period.
No,
And
too young.
He keeps showing me things from that period that are like hilarious. And one of them he showed me recently was Perot on Larry King. And it's so funny. It's
Here's
a
a
perfect Downey piece. You're great at it.
Will was great.
Will's doing Larry King, which he's not known for.
Someone
And there was
assigned
Chris
Larry
Kattan in there. It was people, their platforms were very exotic, and Ross Perot was the same old thing. Because he's same old dribble every time. Are we going to do this? Can I finish one time? Or are you going to keep talking all the time? I mean, the rhythm of that was so infectious. I never had more fun doing a
And
character.
you could do that speed. You always had that ability. That was something I saw in the audition. You could move something that fast.
If I can catch a wave with it rhythmically in my head, and I know that it's like casting a line to the audience, can I finish one time?
Yeah.
And I know
Little
that
hooks,
you're going to
micro
laugh
hooks.
right now because you can't not laugh because that's the way I'm talking. Can you figure it that way?
With a
I know it is
gesture.
exactly like a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extrapolated.
But you auditioned with music.
I did have a little piano thing and stuff. But
I'm not recommending that because it's really time
I
intensive.
know, I was about to say, for that reason, I'm out.
the other night, I was at the Improv doing a benefit, and I'm kind of bombing. I mean, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
And then I go, fuck it. I did a thing on SNL called Chopped Broccoli. It's packed. So I do it and give it all on the piano. Standing ovation. So I should never go
And it
on and do
worked?
anything else. It killed.
Yeah, I thought that story was heading to a
I only
bomb.
did it
Who
once.
do they think it is? Because people ask me all the time.
It was, we gave him a name. To me, it was just random rock
Nigel
star.
something, yeah.
What was he called? Derek something.
Yeah, so it's Brit,
It's a
but it's
British.
not. But it's not McCartney.
No.
No, it's not McCartney. And then I buried it we did a sketch where the record company, it was a little too sophisticated, tells him he has to die because his record sales will go up. And look what happened to Jim Morrison and Hendrix. But I don't want to die. You know, it's one of those. And it laid there, but Chopped Broccoli lives on.
You know, Lorne, when you watch these auditions, it's interesting because I was newer to comedy. All I wanted to do was kill, and because my audition was different. We've interviewed a lot of these people, and I'm hearing a lot of them were at 8H, which would be just horrifying. But and it's dead silent, you know, and everyone's out there and shoemakers eating peanuts. You know, no one. It's like, hey, come down for the audition.
It's tough to audition. For
But
us.
when
But
I did,
also, weren't you brought in a little bit as a writer?
well, the thing was, I came in and Dennis, right before I walked on, people were at Catch a Rising Star. You might have been there. I don't even know if you were there. It was, you know, some writers came down, and a handful was me, Rob Schneider, and Tom Kenny, and we were just doing stand up. So
Yeah, I was there.
we do it, and Dennis Miller comes up before and he goes, "Hey, Spudley," he goes, "You gonna bring the A game?" And I go, "I mean, it's all the A I got. I mean, I don't know, it might be a B, but
Not
it's
saving any
my
A.
best is might be B." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "I'm saving it for another audition for American Idol." So I go, "Listen, yeah, and he goes, you don't want to kill too hard. Throws a red flag with these guys. They don't want to get some road hack. And I go, so don't do good. And they're like, David, Spade. I go, Dennis,
Don't do good, do good.
I go, but I realize now when I watch comics and stuff, I look at writing. So I can tell someone has game in 2 lines. You know what I mean? It's like, name that tune. I go, first line might be a fluke. And then they do the next joke. And I go, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get an eye for it. So I think you guys all had that. And I can watch someone and not see if they kill or not. I don't almost hear it. I just go, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. So Dennis said later, or maybe Downey said, no, we liked your writing. So I don't even know. I don't think we did that well, but that didn't matter. It was more like, oh, I like the way you put that together, or that thought, or that, and that I appreciate.
How would you
that.
describe that? That sensibility that you look for?
Well, what I think was happening then was we had a kind of murderer's row of people that were going to be dominating for a long time. Yeah. So you were going to get to be Ross Perot, but in the other debate.
And the wide shot.
Well, that was
on my tombstone. He was going to come back. He was going to come back and do both parts.
I saw David sitting in the corner dressed as Perot, and he looked so sad, but it was just for the wide shot. It was a fluky thing, but yeah that was, you did well.
But what I'm getting at is that there's...
You were Perot.
There's a thing which I've done a bunch over the years, which is I'll bring someone in as a writer. They're going to be cast eventually.
You buy some time,
but they won't go through that self-doubt. Why am I not getting on? And people say I'm on, but I don't see enough. Whatever.
I added that though to my stress.
I'll talk to comedians who've auditioned, and they tell me what they've auditioned with in the last 5 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And I won't tell them, but I'm thinking to myself, not going to get it.
Yeah.
And whether it was like, you're not afraid of any kind of humor, but it was something scatological, but it wasn't funny. And I could just tell it didn't fit kind of the frequency of you, Lorne Michaels, and your lieutenants. There's a certain thing, and it's hard to describe it because it's got a wide bandwidth. But there is something
you can see it at read through, and someone new puts in something, everyone goes, "Oh Jesus!"
And it's a little off-putting.
Yeah,
and read through is an honest room.
Yeah,
there's no Bernie's not there. So there's not, and the network's not there. There's no booming laugh.
Right.
So it's got it didn't play. And same with the show. When something doesn't work, there are no laughs on the air. So
who do you blame?
That's the high wire.
It's the fairest thing in the world, really.
And also you feel you've earned it.
Yeah.
But there are people like Bowen I brought in as a writer.
He's great.
And you want people to see how the process works, because it's figuring it out those first few weeks that, that's it and that's cut, like that. And how fast it goes, and costume changes, and while he's pointing at a line that changed or the writer forgot to tell you.
I think Chris Rock ran into that problem of, we were stressed and frustrated we weren't getting on fast enough. But Chris Rock comes in and they're like, "You're Eddie Murphy now, and you're on in 7 sketches." And Franken's screaming at him about a Confederate. He's playing a general, and he's going, "No!" And I'm like, poor Rock, he's in too much. Like, it's too much right away.
Yeah.
And here's the cards, and here's this.
Well,
and I think it got him off. It was a tougher situation for the guy who's one of the funniest in the world.
Yeah, but you knew, at least I knew he was really good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and eventually,
of course.
But normally you get to develop in the background.
Right, you watch a little bit.
Yeah.
Phil and Jan and I were in the cold opening, and I'd never done sketch comedy, just stand up.
Yeah.
So my first show, and I didn't realize later, I guess I knew I was before the monologue, but I didn't know I was in the cold opening.
Right.
That's how green I was. We were just in the first one. It was Game Show Psychic. I don't know if it was Jack Handy.
Is that what it was? Jack Handy?
Jack Handy.
Sounds funny.
I would answer the questions, and Phil was a perfect in Jan. And so we had no time to really acclimate, but it was kind of nice. Everyone was really involved. But this is something Higgins said, and I don't know if you made it, but that you basically wrote the Constitution of Saturday Night Live, and then you see all these incarnations. So I'm a baby boomer. I'm doing late 80s stuff, and then you're the constant, and then you're seeing what kind of Will Ferrell stuff or Bill Hader humor, and then Kate McGinnon, and so you're adaptive in a sense. You're observing. So these new 4 people, are you seeing something just a little
and
2022 different?
One of them, by the way, is from Arizona.
Shut the fuck up.
And I said, and he said, that's where David Spade's from. And I thought,
Famous.
They told you.
It was like a credit.
Scottsdale
He
Junior
said,
College.
believe me, we got only one.
But and also the changing culture of comedy, but you're still there and you're adapting, right? I mean,
and I think the room is great. you
It's
know,
the best.
and innate age, you know.
Oh, yeah.
and
Nothing
so
like it.
Hallowed
it's
grounds.
and it's a safe space. So you kind of people relax into it. I mean, it's scary for the auditions, of course.
Yeah.
But it's also at some point you have to bat at Yankee Stadium if you're going to be in the major leagues. So pretending that that won't exist and you go right from a club to on the air wouldn't work. That,
No.
passing through that threshold because it's scary.
And for you personally, because I always saw you kind of as a coach in a way, that so every
That's literally
cast,
what Jason
every-
Sudeikis calls me.
You're always doing sports metaphors. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you complimented me once, third person. Said, Lorne said you reminded him of Don Mattingly. So I was like, that, and I looked it up.
Take it.
But you see all these personalities come and go, and have you gotten more astute or they surprise you? You kind of go, well, this cast member will be like this. I think this one's going to do well later. I mean, you must have some intuitive sense. Or is it all just sort of surprising sometimes? I mean, like of these four you've just hired,
Right.
you know, do you have a sense of?
Maybe 10 years ago, somebody who was new to the network, but, you know, like was a senior person. We were having dinner and he said, "Can I ask you an SNL question?" And I went,
Well, that's nice.
"Sure." No, it was great. And he said, "You know the update with Jost and Che? Do you think that's working?" And I said, "No." He said, "Oh, you know." And I went, "Yeah, no. It's a thing of like the way I say it, which is unpleasant, is that all babies are ugly unless they're your baby." And after 3 months, people say, "What a beautiful baby." And you have to live through that period of people not being good. Somebody blows a line. Somebody comes in on a wrong foot. Somebody gets a cue late. Wally doesn't, the card doesn't come up. It's all that. And people go, I don't think that guy's that funny. And you go, no, he is. And I think when you see chemistry and you sort of know they're going to work well together. Well, you and Chris.
Yeah.
You know, it was just there from the beginning. It was there off stage, but it was also very clear on camera.
Well, it seems like the audience starts to discover you and like you because you get enough base hits. And then you as a performer and David, we just get more confident and that feeds on itself.
Also, you go from however successful you thought you were to famous. And that transition is just different. Suddenly, in the first season, we had a limo for the host. That was the extent of our budget. But and at the party, John Belushi would quite often go and sit with the host towards the end. And then as they're getting into the limo, he'd say, you know, so John would say, "I'll drop you off." And he'd drop the host at the hotel. And then he would just drive around all night with his face, like limos were rare then. So who is that? And then he'd just be, you know, hand on the roof.
Yeah, fame is.
I like when first of all, we didn't have cars back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't that far long ago, but to the set, which probably was better to have because it's snowing and they're like, Marcy's like, "Spade, are you here? I'm down at Manny-Hanny." And I'm like, well, I'm trying to get there. I live on Upper West Side, but in snowstorm. And then I get there and then afterwards we got to share, like, you know, made sense. Cast gets a car. I'd share one with any feature player or whatever. And then, and Norm would take one to Atlantic City. Anyway.
Where he did very well.
Where he did very well. Marcy's like, I'm telling Lorne immediately. But I was going to ask you about, you just said something about Farley. Do you remember this stupid story where Farley was dating Aaron at work? And
I remember that.
This is just someone that worked at the office, very nice, very cute girl. And then on the break, they broke up and they came back and she started dating Steve Martin. And so Farley comes back from Wisconsin and Sandler and I are in the office and he goes, "So he's smoking. I hear Aaron's got a new fella." And I go, "Yeah, but he doesn't know." And he goes, "Well, he might be richer, but he's not funnier. And he's not better looking, and he's not more famous." And we were like, whoops. All three. And he's like, "Shut the fuck up." And we're like, you can't get better than Steve Martin.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So Lorne.
Yes.
So Lorne.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at this. It seems to me like you love it when the cast and the writers are melding, you don't want either side to really dominate completely.
I think I made the choice because when I worked on the show Laugh In, which was a number one
Laugh In,
show,
applause.
to which I contributed almost nothing. But I was
you're
a
honest.
junior
Almost
writer,
nothing.
Yeah.
but we were never at any read-through.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go to the studio. We were in the
oh, the
So you
writing
just
writers'
write
offices
and pass it,
and
and then
pass
that's
it,
it.
and other people would rewrite
Yeah.
it and whatever. So it wasn't what I thought working at a comedy show would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea of elevating the writers, because every person from the network, and particularly everyone in the control room, goes, "Oh, the writers can do no wrong." But the point with it is, it's that collaboration between a performer and a writer is, and then the performers all learn how to write. Do you know what I mean? Or at least how to recognize, because the
To
performers
survive.
know rhythm and timing. You know, that's too many words. Cut that back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the writer's theoretically thinking about content of some sort.
They don't like to trim.
Yeah.
No, they do
I
not
would
like
tell
to
Al and Jim, I go, with a Bush Cold opening, I go, you got to cut some words out because I feel like I'm doing homework.
Can't do
I
13
feel like I have
pages.
to get through it. And they did it. But yeah, it was.
And they do it immediately because they never talk back. They never ever argue with you or whatever.
I didn't realize how much they all wanted to be on camera
Yeah.
till
That
later.
was hard.
And then you saw Change Bank with Jim.
Change Bank was great.
Silver tones, man.
Commercial parodies were another secret weapon.
I think there's just a thing of watching people on a stage really enjoying themselves, feeling comfortable. When that level of confidence is there and you know that you got it, it's just a different thing. And it comes through at home. You just can tell.
It's exhilarating. On the 40th, because Mike and I were closing the show,
Yeah.
which I want to talk about the 40th because I think it was sort of magic. But I said we should either be very offended or very flattered because it's a 4-hour show and there we come as Wayne and Garth. And we so happened to land it so beautifully.
Perfectly,
And Kanye West was there and we kept going to him and I felt so in the pocket. But God, you had to fight the nerves because everyone was a famous person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the
That
audience.
was a tough room. And yet, and worse, because the seating was screwed up. Well, I don't want to blame
Well,
anyone.
the 40th
but-
was just a fly by the seat of your pants. I mean, it wasn't a
Right,
normal.
But people were still coming in, and and I had to send Jimmy and Justin out, so they really took a bullet. Because people were moving in, still seating, and they're performing, and
Because the audience was only celebrities, right?
Yeah.
and it was
only
live
cast
at 8
members.
o'clock.
yeah,
hosts.
former hosts, former
Music.
cast.
And then you had a spillover room, and people
Yeah.
were mad they were in the spillover room.
That room was
Now,
pretty
where is
famous
that?
too.
I've never
I
been
don't
to that.
know.
I don't know that. And by the way, I don't think there's any plus ones.
Yeah,
It was just
and the 50th will have no plus ones.
it's fucking
Well,
zero.
what do you think of the 50th? I mean, isn't it surreal?
Yeah, I every now and then, I had to give an Emmy speech, and I hadn't planned on any.
Oh, that's right.
right.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank
you
you.
win
No, no,
again.
no, yeah, no,
It was like 7 years in a row or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
6.
6. Sorry.
Six.
Good
Still,
God. I'm thinking about next year.
it's just, you have to write this stuff down later. I think I was going to say, I don't want to say, well, I'm getting ready for season 48 because it's insane.
It's just,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yes, there was 5 years I wasn't there, after the first 5. But you just sort of go, and the other thing that's familiar to people who are joining the show is the school year. That we come in the fall, we take Thanksgiving off, we take Christmas off, Easter, whatever, and spring break, and then it's summer, and you go away. And the original plan was not. The network just wanted us to do 3 shows a month all year round. And I went, the seasons are going to run into each other. And also, it's such a pressurized environment.
beating? Yeah.
You have to get away from everybody. I mean, for me, because I want to kill everybody by the end.
Oh, yeah.
And you
It's
just go,
brutal.
want to get out.
Yeah.
And so you go away, and around the end of July, you go, yeah, I could go back.
Start to miss it. Yeah.
Now, when the network or the people you talk to about the show try to convince you to do something, how do you navigate that? I mean, have you ever lost an argument? Because it seems like have a winning percentage of keeping the show quality or its
If
brand?
it was anything to do with religion, particularly in the 70s, there was Jim used to write this thing called "What If," and it would always be written in by a 10-year-old paper boy from Altoona, Illinois, and it'd be "What if Spartacus had a Piper Cub?" You know, it's like those kind of,
Right,
and then
yeah.
we do a
Remember that.
reenactment of it.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, a state senator in New York, in arguing for capital punishment, said that if the Romans hadn't believed in capital punishment, there would be no Jesus and there'd be no Christianity, which seemed insane to me, but I understood how you could get there logically.
Thinking, yeah.
And the movie Straight Time, which was Dustin Hoffman coming out of, on parole and his
Yes, I remember
criminal
it.
friends trying to get him back into crime. So we did it as Jesus does, gets off with 3 to 5, and then he, some of the apostles are going, come on, one more miracle, no one gets hurt. And, now to me, it was just comedy, but it really got,
Okay.
and it, because you'd have to know the relationship between me and Howard, because in the first 5 years, it'd be like, well, we can't just do pop. And I go, well, we want to do this. And so that week we had Keith Jarrett, and it was like jazz piano, and it was brilliant, but it was like, now this sketch, which was 9 minutes, we're arguing up until air, really at 11 o'clock, at which point it's like, I'm going, really? Yeah, you're denying the divinity of Christ, which I go, we're not really. It's,
It's also a comedy show.
yeah, and maybe that's the Canadian part. But all I'm getting at is it was like an absolute no.
Wow.
Not even that. And I said to one of the network people who was in the room, who I'll spare, I said, does this offend you? And he said, listen, Lorne, I'd let you put cocksucking on the air if we get a 40 share. So I'm the wrong guy to ask. And I went, oh, this is really helpful. Thank you.
Well, we had Mr. Clockworthy, I think,
Yeah.
in the
Bill
80s.
Clock.
In the
And
early,
in church chat, I initially had penis in there a lot, and he wanted some of those cut out. And so I substitute for penis, I put in more your throbbing bulbous area. It was way more pornographic, but that's good. No penis.
Yeah, and I think that for us, because it's live and because we were on the honor system at the beginning, we're still on it. I was at the Emmys the other night, and a bunch of people, said fuck, and you go, yeah, you're going to get a laugh, but it's not going to age well, and but it is that move, the temptation to do it. And for us, we would lose affiliates. I don't think you lose anything anymore, but there's something about, and when we were doing Wayne's World, I'd been in 1990. I was on a trip in New York, and
On a yacht.
and I was with people that I wasn't normally with, and they talked about watching the show with their kids. Now, in the 70s, it was not supposed to trust anyone over 30.
Right.
And it was like we were doing it for the people we knew, and we didn't think the rest of the country cared. And they really didn't until Mr. Bill showed up. But they were talking about sitting there with their teenage daughter and how great it was to both be laughing at the same things as a family. Anyway, I didn't have kids, so it was kind of, I thought, that.
And that was Schwing and Sphincter Says
No, it
What?
was, we were doing that.
Oh, the Madonna.
The Madonna thing.
Yeah.
With the Evian bottle.
Right.
What was the movie, Truth or Dare?
Yeah,
was it black
Truth
and
or
white?
Dare. I was in a
Wasn't it Wayne's
unitard.
World,
She goes,
black and
look at
white?
look at the thing on that guy or whatever. Yeah, I was. It was.
And they were doing the Evian bottle like that. And
Yeah.
she wanted to do it. And I'm
Fellatio.
going, if I had a 16-year-old daughter, that'd be like really cringe time.
Tough, yeah.
And we do lots of things that are shocking, but I think you can't just be shocking.
I think it's
be out
great
of
to
the
have
comedy.
guardrails, and so you can be a little naughty, but you can't just full blown.
No.
I mean, the penis sketch where we were all at a nudist colony.
Fantastic piece. Fantastic piece. Really holds up.
Didn't it take a year or two to get it on?
We lost Toyota. We lost 2-3 big sponsors because people would boycott a dealership. And then
Because of that sketch.
yeah, and because people would say, whoever has the dealership in Mississippi is calling central headquarters, going, "There's people outside here protesting, and why are you sponsoring that show?" And they
Guys at
didn't.
a nudist colony, we had a slat so you'd see our legs. I think Hanks was on it.
I think it was Smigel, right?
Yes. And
was
it was
Sparkle
just,
and
nice
Cohen?
penis. How you doing? How's your penis? And we said penis like intentionally like 300 times or something. You missed that one.
I
Dave.
remember. No, I remember. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and the
would've been
repetition
in
of
it.
it was where the laughs were. But
Yeah,
I
it was
don't think
Smigel.
it got great laughs.
Right.
No,
No.
I don't think so.
But there are certain writers who never don't hear laughs. So
You never don't hear loud. Yeah, I know they go kill.
Yeah.
Actually, but like old ones like cheeseburger, Pepsi. Those I don't think kill the first time around. I don't think Conan's kills the first time around. And you train the audience. This is good, and then later they go, "Oh, those are the best," and you go, "It didn't even work."
very often the first one's not a hit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we did the very first show. We're still trying to find out what areas of the studio had sound, and we were on the air. There was a piece that Rosie wrote called Bee Hospital. And it was a maternity hospital for bees, and Franny Lee did the costumes, and they were great, the bee costumes. And every now they're just men pacing, and then every now and then a nurse would come out and say, "It's a worker." It's a worker, and it was just that. It's a worker. Oh, yeah, it's a worker. And then it's a drone. Oh, it's a drone. Yeah. Anyway, it played to silence because you couldn't hear it. It was in the far corner of the studio.
It's terrible.
So the only note we got from the network was the bees thing didn't work, so don't do that anymore. So the second show, the bees came on
Right.
and tried, and then Paul Simon was hosting and said, no, the bees is cut because it didn't work. The third show they snuck on in a sketch with Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall, and then there was a long, more and more they're people are in the back are bees, it's like
That was like a big thing.
And then Rob went into a long speech about how the bees didn't work, it's not funny, and then Belushi did that a variation on that speech from Billy Jack. Of like, you have Hollywood writers, you have this, you come here, and we,
Great.
and they kind of walked off to One Tin Soldier, like
One Tin Soldier.
And so that was then the bees were there.
That's what we loved about that show.
Yeah.
It was anarchy, and it was so different.
Yeah.
So.
And also, don't tell us what's funny.
Here's a question for you, because I have a few my own personal thing, but in the studio, with a sketch, what were the ones that just killed the hardest or made you laugh the hardest? And it's probably dozens of them, but I have one in mind that I was in that I didn't write, but it went to a level of laughter and involved an animal. Massive Head Wound Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Because an animal,
A dog.
that was
Like the thing.
bedlam.
Well, also the headline of it, Massive Head Wound. You kind of go, that's an odd sitcom.
I
With
thought
the
that
theme
was
song, yeah.
Jack Handy said it had such an odd title, but I think it was a Schneider, did he?
I think it was Schneider and probably a few other people helped, but I think Rob.
Maybe they
Franken, I think,
gangbanged it.
Franken too.
Yeah.
But that was just one of those things that they said between Dress and Air, like Rob had asked the handler of the dog, well, what would make him really voracious? Well, so they didn't feed him. He was hungry and then put more stuff on my prosthetic head. So the dog went crazy. And because I was trained by you, I didn't want to be about the
Right.
prosthesis coming
Yeah.
off. So I went like that and just held it. But
Yeah.
it was such a long battle between me and the dog that
And you kept in it.
Yeah.
I stayed in. I didn't want it to
stayed
be
in it.
about that.
And you didn't milk it. No, and
Hopefully
I
not.
think that's the discipline of it. That you transcend it. You're still playing.
Yeah, you don't want when it's killing that hard. It was like Pepperboy with Sandler, and that was killing so hard on air. It just came out, and Sandler and I were just in a rhythm together.
Yeah.
And then Farley had one line, and on the dress show, it's
Angrily.
like, "Whoa, Pepperboy!" So then the air show, and of course we're coming around to like a pepper or whatever, and Farley's like, "Whoa, fine,
thank you, purple boy.
but 10 times louder than I just said it.
Yeah.
Sandler turns purple, is turning away from the camera to me, and I whisper, I keep the Italian accent, and I go, don't break.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't break because I thought the sketch was going so good that I
Let's
didn't
not
want
ruin
it to
it. Yeah.
If it's not
sort
going
of-
good, okay, you can break, but not if it's
But
good.
also a sketch like Canteen Boy with Alec and
yeah.
Around the
Sandler
campfire.
in that sleeping bag.
I wouldn't get too far these days.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That
Even
was a
back
little-
then, it was resistance.
Oh yeah, totally.
So when you get, obviously it's probably still exciting. And would you ever want to stop, or is there, or if Dana and I can't take over,
I
what do we
think there's
do?
times when it's so frustrating and so whatever that you think. But you know, when the warm up is over, you know, and it's just you're hearing those last two songs, just the band, and you know those songs because they don't change much, and then you start to realize you're kind of excited, and that's never changed for me.
No, I don't. I think you're like anyone who's driven, you take the slings and arrows.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand what you did until I guest hosted and was just kind of, you hang out with you kind of more.
Yeah.
And even if you're going out to dinner or whatever, you're constantly producing and constantly thinking and suggesting, and you're really bleeding over every show emotionally. So how do you decompress? I mean, are you, it's like.
Well, I think it's different when you have kids.
'Cause that they
you know,
take
you go to the party, you come back, and then somebody's jumping on your chest, and you can still taste the beer, and but they're the priority, and you're
Right.
not, and that you get through that period. I think for me, and particularly in the pandemic, and for the whole of the 16 election and afterwards, you sort of went, oh, people are counting on us. Talking about it and being there. And that was like a huge thing. And when we did those at-home shows in the pandemic,
Yeah.
you know, the idea that, and it always is, it's just the DNA of the show. We show up. So you sort of feel you, with 9/11 or whatever, that you have to. And, you know, when Sandy Hook happened, you know, and Mccartney was on the show and Marty Short. And it happened on the Friday. Was when it,
That's
you know,
the toughest.
and I go, we don't have to do that. I don't know why we have to do that. And then Friday night, you can't not do it. You can't somehow figure it out. And there was a choir, a boys' choir,
Oh, yes.
that was on for Wonderful Christmas Time with McCartney. which
I
was-
remember that sketch.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
And
hysterical.
so Marty shouting at
Martin
all-
Short
yeah,
trying,
yeah.
you can't
Paul,
sing.
is this where
Yeah.
Paul talked
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were, it also happened to be the Friday night that they were shooting the last scene of 30 Rock. Alec on a boat down South Street Seaport. And I promised Tina and Robert and Alec that I'd be there for that. So I'm driving down the West Side Highway now, and I'm still trying to figure out and what I'm going to do because we don't have an opening. And Paul had said, McCartney had said, I can sing, you know, but I thought it's kids. You just can't do any show business.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You could do Let It Be, whatever, but it would be somehow wrong. And I called Lindsay and said, will you call the choir master and see if he's got a chart on Silent Night? And she came back, she said, they do. And they have the choir. Yeah.
And
So it became like, we're going to just do that. I knew Phil Himes where he put the
the
candles.
great lighting designer.
Yeah. And it was like, so they do it and then they say live from New York. And it did not work at Dress. And I went,
Yeah, boy.
Okay, now this is where you have to rack
and
your
then
brain.
Marty told me the story because he was watching me. And he said, you were so puzzling with it while you were giving notes, like, what is it? And then dip to black. Just dip to black, that ends. And then the kids being happy and saying live from New York was completely understandable and forgivable. It was, you couldn't bleed the one into the
I
other.
see.
And so it was like, oh, and it worked. And you kind of go, you don't know, but you're like, when you're mixing tragedy in
Very tough.
You need jokes, but also it just is, you're supposed to do it. So you figure
And
it out.
finding that line, you know. Paul McCartney, I thank you for introducing us in
No,
1986.
and he's, I think he doesn't get credit for being a rocker. Do you know what I mean? I think the cliche was that John was, and he was, sentimental.
Soft and- yeah.
But half the rock, JoJo, that's Paul.
yeah, and Helter Skelter.
Yeah, Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
But
I think that he suffers from a good problem in a way. Too many great songs.
yeah,
People hear "Let It Be" and "Hey Jude." They don't hear "Here, There, and Everywhere."
Yeah.
And "She's Leaving Home." He has so many melodies that you can't even remind people.
yeah. And when people criticize him, because
You're very good friends. Yeah.
I go, no, he's Mozart. Leave it alone.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Just stop it. He writes
Yes.
great melodies. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And someday you'll get a perspective on it. But it's really, and I saw his last concert at the Meadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting, it was like 3 hours. And he did, things you thought you would see for sure weren't in the show.
Right.
It was really well thought out and fresh and brilliant. And about 10, 15 minutes before it ended, it started to rain. And this is at, the Meadowlands. No one moved.
it's
Everybody just sat
Sort
there.
of a once in a lifetime.
And you go, and it was the last time he was going to perform, and in America anyway. And it was just magical. And for me, it was, Love Me Do is I'm a freshman.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So that's the point of entry. And I think it's all, in the Stones I saw in London this summer too, and just phenomenal.
Love them. Yeah.
And it's just that thing of you want them to be that.
Yes.
You don't need them to, and if Sinatra was singing.
Yeah, you want to hear Summer Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that Get Back, the documentary, kind of couch Paul in a better light. I think there's a little bit more understanding because
And
he
he
could
said
sing
that
all the
also.
harmonies, he could play all the instruments, and he could write songs. So it makes sense, as you might say, fingerprints would be, he'd be collaborating with Ringo.
Yeah.
Do. And I used to do that as a joke impression. So the guy goes in there and he goes, he's walking along, do. And then he's doing it and Get Back to George Harrison.
Yeah.
What's this do? And so the boy genius kind of thing. And Lennon was off on his own journey at that point. But
And also, that in the concert, now Peter Jackson gave him a clip so he could sing with Lennon. And,
yes. Well, how does that?
So you realize how young Lennon was.
I know he's just 28.
I know, and you just go, oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And Paul was, when I was watching him on the rooftop, when John was doing, his song, Don't Let Me Down, Paul is so engaged, not cynical at all. And he's doing this incredible bass line and they're smiling and laughing. And for all of us romantically, because of what they meant to us, we want John and Paul. And for Paul,
Yes.
his favorite part of the thing was them joking around and laughing.
Yeah.
Because
He said
that's what he
how
wants.
we were. Yeah, he said that's how we want to be remembered.
But, time heals all wounds.
But also people
Well,
make
don't
their
you
own.
have that with the cast
Yeah.
that you were with? I mean,
1,000%. We could run into anybody of our time.
well,
Listen.
also Sandler's in the middle of it, churning them out. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
always, and you just go, Rob Schneider's living on a couch there,
Yeah.
Suddenly gets into, he gets a movie. But,
Yeah, Rob talked about them getting famous, and and then all of a sudden we had girlfriends, you know. And there was some thing, or who thought of Cantori, the one where I had Victoria's legs over my.
El Cantor is
Who
a great
really
one.
wrote that? But you're right; it is like being in the Marines or something. Not literally. No, don't send me letters. But yeah, you see a castmate, even running into Tracy Morgan. He goes, "Hey, alum, there's a esprit de corps."
I also think, I think Bill Murray said it once, you just can't explain what it's like being out there looking into the eyes of somebody else who's in that same scene that is, it's maybe not working, or maybe it's working
And you're
way
both
better.
like paddling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or working way better than you thought. The sparkle, just that contact of being in that heightened reality with that level of intensity, you can't really explain. And I'm sure pro athletes have that. I think it's, dancers have it.
Which is another great thing about the show is that you started having non-performers host the show. I guess you had pro athletes in the 70s, but that's a reality show in itself. If the pro athlete is bombing or killing, it's just a pro. Michael Jordan's going to try to be a sketch player.
Fran Tarkenton was
you had
in the
him.
70s. But also, I had Ralph Nader. I had a lot of people that I just admired. And so
it was
Ralph
very
Nader,
smart.
for his entrance, he was getting off the elevator on 8. And I said, I think if you were eating a hot dog, that will help. Because he said, well, I don't eat hot dogs. I know. That's why I think it'll work. It's
part of
it's being sort of
The
startling.
ultimate straight man.
And he got the laugh. And it was like,
He lit up.
It's exciting. It's ridiculous.
They compete. I mean, Peyton Manning, they give each other, they're
Bill
like.
Russell. And was.
Oh, he had one.
Yeah. He was fantastic. I was a huge fan. But it was just like, you could call people and they'd say, okay. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know Bill Russell.
You didn't know who watched the show because we were mostly in 8H. And then you go, oh, they're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Wayne Gretzky was so charming.
I had Broderick Crawford was in some FBI movie.
Oh, yeah. Broderick Crawford.
And I called him and I said, he was living in Ohio. And I called him and I said, we're doing the show. And it's called, yeah, I think I know it. Yeah. So you'd have to be here on the Monday and, it would be this. And I'm trying to reassure a man who does not need to be reassured. And he said, all right, send me the ticket.
Send me the ticket for the plane ticket?
An airplane, an airplane, And it's just, what I'm getting at is people just volunteered to come, from
Robert Mitchum, Charlton Heston.
Robert Mitchum had one of my favorite monologue lines.
Yes.
About live and it's so dangerous and you don't know what could go wrong. And he said, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I won't get that 119th movie.
Yeah, I remember that. And he landed it perfect. And he was so old school. He had a half gallon of Jack Daniels in his dressing room. He's an old-fashioned movie star.
Yeah.
Incredible to be around.
Walken had that too.
Walken is magic.
Yeah.
Walken, with Cowbell, I think I was just there doing a guest shot, and that thing, hearing Walken come out, and they more Cowbell. It was so... The cast, I know that Will had done it before, but once you got Walken and then Will, that's why it's just iconic.
Yeah, no, and also the Continental, which he used to do,
Continental was a big
was
one,
an actual show that he would see. It was a local New York 15-minute show where this guy was on, and he wanted to do it, so he knew it perfectly.
God, he was good.
And
at
that single camera phone.
Yeah, with like a white glove on.
Do you remember Bear Suits Are Funny and Bears as well?
Was that a fake story?
It was Christopher Walken at the meeting.
Yeah.
And we all went around pitching him, and he's kind of staring up in Christopher Walken. And then you said, Chris, and I remember him saying this in specific. If you remember, he just said non sequitur, Bear Suits are funny and bears as well. Bear suits are funny. and then he thought, and bears as well. I just thought that was the greatest non sequitur.
And Lorne probably goes, write it up.
Write it up. Let's put you in a bear suit. Yeah. But that was the thrill of being around him. He was
there were a lot of people that you were either surprised or couldn't wait to meet or whatever.
And John Goodman could do no wrong. Alec Baldwin was like
my third show was Alec's first show, and that was the Green Hilly, and it was he did the Mimic. He did all these.
One of the things that I loved,
great,
but this is a Wayne's World thing, which you'll remember.
I'll tune in.
He was doing Green Hilly.
Hilly, I remember Green Hilly.
You guys were in the conference room waiting to see me about something, and Franken was there waiting to see me, and I can't remember what I was doing, but Franken said out loud, "Can you imagine what it'd be like if we had a really good-looking guy in the cast?"
I remember this one. Oh boy, yeah, that would not go over.
And both Dana and Mike were like. Kind of looked at each other.
Well, I thought Mike was more dim, but maybe I was too. I never considered. I didn't have a chin. I can't be. I have a limit on how good looking I can be without a chin. Now I've got this. The ladies like.
No, he got up for an Emmy for that first show. Alec was kidding every sketch, and it was he came out of Hunt for Red October, and I was just like, I went in the meeting going, "Oh, this guy's a movie star." Like I was new.
Oh yeah, and I remember did I interrupt you just then? Victoria would say. the second time Alec came in, non sequitur, Victoria, like on a Tuesday, I'm not going to do it again. Not this week. I'm not going to do it. And I go, what are you going to do? I'm not going to fall in love with him. I'm not going to fall in love with him. And then by Friday, I fell in love with him.
Yeah, get
But
behind
he
me.
just sees eyes and he's just
He was a stud. Yeah.
and
But there were so many home run hitters on that when I got there, and all the writing and the Smigels and Handies, and we talk about it all the time. But it was just hard to. Lorne actually hung in there with me because it took a while to get my footing. I was trying to write for you. It's hard to write for other people. I was just a stand up, so it's just to get it going, and then got a little Hollywood Minute, then got some stuff, and it just. Thank God I got in there because it took me longer than most. And
Yeah, because one, he was in there too.
yeah, this
So
trick?
you weren't
Oh,
going to
yeah.
get those parts.
Believe me,
David
let's
would
go
sit
through my
behind-
diary. I'll show you.
David would sit behind me, and Lorne would
I'd
say,
sit
David's
behind-
on deck. If you ever,
David, ready? Dana looks tired. You're like, no.
I'd look back.
I've been reading something from Huxley's.
David's ready whenever you're ready to go.
David, you were funny the first. Yeah, I bet you. Truly,
Thank you.
And there was
David's as
never a
funny as
moment
anybody.
where I didn't think it was going to work.
Yeah.
Thank
and your
I'm
last
often
2
wrong,
years.
but at that time I was.
Have you seen cast members? I mean, there's so many that audition. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't say, I guess, if you felt like someone you missed on or someone. I'm sure there's some that just obviously get
I
famous
think what
later.
happens is if there's no slot, do you know what I mean? If
Yeah,
somebody
we
does
don't
kind
think
of
of
what
that.
you do, then it's really hard.
Work out.
Actually, I think
Yeah.
Nick Kroll, we talked to him and he auditioned, and he was the first one. It made sense to me where he goes, they
he's
had
great.
me. He
Yeah.
goes,
He's
they had
great.
every
Yeah.
move I do, and there's just I'm an extra. So I'm an extra
Well,
guy.
he looked at Adam
doing-
Sandberg and Bill Hader, and he
Yeah.
locked him off, and he goes, and we talked about this podcast. It wasn't personal. It was just
Yeah.
those. And then,
3 years earlier, it would have worked. 3 years later, but he was like, even
but
he knew
brilliant
it. He goes,
guy.
"Ah."
I mean, really, really funny.
So that's just the way it is there. And when we're auditioning, we don't think that. We're just saying, oh, we want to be on. And when Rob and I came on, kind of writer, performers, or maybe just writers. I mean, no one tells anybody anything. So Bernie just said, hey, just go there.
And also, Rob was making copies.
Oh, yeah. He
You
fucking,
know,
Yeah,
and
which was a huge
somehow that just caught on.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't know why it catches on, but
Yeah.
and then you run it into the ground.
I mean, I
quickly.
first met.
and then we run it into the ground. It's
run it,
just
run it.
ding-a-ling-a,
It's just a
ding-dong.
catchphrase.
Oh, the jealousy hit an all-time high when Sting came on, looking like a stud, and then we're stingling a ding dong, and then you go, "You want to be in Cop Machine?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "God damn." So it just you have to sit on the sidelines and go, "Good job," and you go, "Fuck, "What am I doing here?" It's tough.
Making copies.
Yeah, but you know what? And you can't argue it. It's funny. It was original.
Yeah.
No,
And you
no,
just go, God,
Rob
that's
has a
great one.
musical
Rob is a great
talent.
writer
He's
too.
great.
He's musical and he can write and
It was so fun to be around these movie stars that are nervous and scared about to go in and do
Or
some-
musicians.
Or
Yeah.
Sting. I remember we were going to
Yeah.
do the elevator sketch, and we're in between. He goes, "How's my hair? How's my hair?" He's asking me. It's like, and they're really vulnerable, and they got the. And I told Michael Jordan, if you space out, just read it off the card. It's a very fascinating part
they're
of this
just
whole.
flailing. They don't know what to do. They're
Yeah.
scared. And if you get to talk to them, they don't know that we're lowly writers. They're like, "What do I do here?" And I'm like, "Are you talking to me? I don't know what the fuck's going on."
Jeremy Irons
I remember his show.
Hello.
was Saturday, but the Oscars were the Sunday. And he was nominated for Best Actor.
Oh wow.
And I knew him from a play he'd done with Mike Nichols, and he was a great actor, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were doing a Sherlock Holmes sketch, and I won't name the writer, but they're like in there teaching him an English accent.
Right.
Like, no, it's more this. And you just go, and you just go, well, and then he won Best Actor.
Yeah.
But you just go, but the passion and blindness of comedy writers,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Of like, no, you don't get it. It's like this. And you go, and so confident. But performers have witnessed and felt death out
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So they never are confident because they actually know the job. But writers are like, no,
Come on.
And I remember George Meyer when he was on the show, and he was
Show
really brilliant.
dine.
And he would you'd sort of see himself throwing his body against the wall at dress rehearsal when someone blew a line.
Yeah.
And that's why animation works better. You know, because
they
do
obey.
exactly what they're told. But performers can either give you that exhilaration of like they took it off the paper and now it's this other thing that will always be that.
Yeah.
As opposed to you got the laugh at the end of the line, you know.
I think I was doing a courtroom thing as Johnny Carson, as Johnny Cochran or something, and Smigel had written it, and he's putting all these birds and things on me. And it's 5, 4, 3, and it's a cockatoo. I go, Robert, enough. I got to do the thing. You know? Come on. Robert is relentless that way, which we love him for. He
wants to be performing.
Oh, he loves to perform. Yeah, but we had some great collaborations together. He was good with rhythms and, you know.
Yeah.
So this new season.
Excited.
How is your? You're pulling up your socks. You're feeling good. You're just eyes wide open.
I think it was. We ended the season with goodbyes. You know, particularly Kate and
actually
Lady
said it.
And Pete, and so dealing with that, it just had that valedictory thing, which we did with Kristen Wiig as well. We've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And you just slipped out into the dead of night.
I blame it on Bernie. You gotta go now,
Irish
kid,
exit.
or you'll never go. No, I don't know why I did that. A lot of people on this, just anecdotally, without naming names, kind of like go, why did I leave? Because some of them left voluntarily.
Yeah.
And why was I so angry?
Yeah.
And what was I thinking? And for me personally, I had so many inputs coming at me.
Yeah.
I got too hot, too big. It's like Mickey Rooney in The Twilight Zone because of Wayne's World and all the political stuff. So I was sort of lost. But yeah, I was envious and thought it was sweet when Kate and people got a little send off. It's sweet.
Yeah, and also I think there's something about it can't be everything, the show. And it is for so long, and then but if you're ever going to leave, you know, and so
you have to leave at some point.
Yeah, but
Except for
it's
Keenan.
also that you're never going to feel that intensity of that because it's its own sport. Do you know what I mean? And you're in Hall of Fame.
Never as hard.
Yeah,
I went to a sitcom and it was great people, great actors, and I go, this is just not the same. It's just not as tough. And people writing for me, and I go, this is unbelievable.
And also, SNL is all risk. You know, like there's no safety net, and there's also no guarantee that it's going to work on air.
Or you're gonna be on. I
No,
mean, like you're walking through the hallway, and it's like 20-1, and they go, and you're in your outfit, and they go, Gap Girls is cut. You can't get on the air,
And you're in the dress.
I already made it this far.
Go back to your rooms immediately.
Yeah, and anything that's cut on it, that's the tough because that's again, there's no guarantees. And
Now we tend to play some of those.
oh yeah, I guess
we
you
put
guys
them
play
online.
dress, or you can play.
Well, doesn't Saturday Night Live? I think I read this gets like I don't know, almost 2 billion YouTube views. Isn't it number one?
YouTube foreign is huge.
It must be
Oh,
just
wow.
huge.
And what's happened is Lewis Hamilton, the race car driver, was at a party last season. And he talked to me, he said, well, I grew up watching the show. And I go, you're in England. How do you watch the show? You know, you forget that it's all online and people. And then I think when they see the contemporary stuff, then they go back and look at the shows from.
Yeah.
And there was a period about 15 years ago when writers coming in who had not been alive for the first, 5 or 10 years, we had a server where they could just go on. So sometimes people would watch 2 or 3 shows on Tuesday night before they started. But I'll use an example. I'll say, well, I think we did that with Bill Murray. And then now I look out into a room of like, okay. All right.
Who's Bill Murray?
I'm talking about 45 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a.
I think Peacock probably has all the old ones, maybe.
It's everyone has it on their laptop. I mean, every sketch, right? Because when I was there meeting John Mulaney and Bill Hader, I'm like, oh, what do you guys want to do? They go, we like Mickey Rooney. When I did Mickey Rooney, I'm like, really? And they brought it up immediately. So
and Bill, when I've talked to Bill somewhat seriously about his time there, he was frightened.
he talked about the panic attacks.
And I go, it's so interesting because I'm pretty good at reading that stuff.
Yeah.
But he was so good on air and so original. And I mean, he auditioned with Vincent Price.
Yes.
And
Who does that?
and James Mason. Now, they were in my childhood. I don't know how we get it. And things got to Oklahoma later. But it was just so original and right away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Vinny Vidarchi and all of that stuff. And you go, such an original comedy voice.
Yeah.
You know, we know what else he can do, but he was truly funny.
So good to have voice
his
on there like
rhythms
that.
and the Vincent Price thing. It didn't even matter if you knew Vincent Price, just
No
that his
one knew.
party's being ruined and he's
Yeah.
being very trying to pull it together. Well, okay, thank you. And it was Toady Fields. I don't know who was coming to the
Toady
room.
Fields.
Toady Fields, but he said he was just, you know, almost in tears in the bathroom and
Yeah.
on 8H.
Yeah.
You know, you could, if anyone wanted to see church chat, my hand was drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of controlling
course.
adrenal.
And you don't know. 5 seconds before, you still don't know whether it's going to work or whether. But there is that thing of like it brings out the best in you, and when you win, you really can feel it.
Well, you can't. There's nothing like the first big laugh to relax you. You're just not relaxed. And the very first time I said, "Well, isn't that special?" I got such a big laugh. I finally went, "Ah."
But also, there's a period in which they like, you know, you probably have 3 or 4 years where they just going to laugh at whatever you do because they think you know more than they do, and they're just so excited to see you, and that's been happening for the last 10 years or so. You just could kind of feel in the room, and I'm going, I don't think that's going to play, and they go, no, of course it's going to play.
Yeah,
because
it's these guys.
It's those people doing
Yeah.
it.
There was once when we were in the Monday meeting, and I thought, I don't know if we had like a dry spell, but I was in the Monday meeting, and the host, who shall remain nameless, but I go, I think Mike and Dana are more famous than the host. And you know, the cast gets so big sometimes like that, and they're so well known, and we always, I mean, you always have, to this day, huge hosts and great people that come in from all areas. And Kim Kardashian did a great job, and that was sort of out of the blue. And just that's great that you keep doing that, and something's working there where they all want to do it still and get that one thing because they hear about it, and they all walk away going, it went too fast and it was too great. And if I do it again, I know what I'm doing this time.
But also hosting, everybody, you know, there's 150 people. They're all there to make you look good.
Yeah.
So you're the center of it, and it's just a different experience.
Unless you're Steven Seagal, you believe that.
Steve Seagal, my favorite host. So when did you guys started, which was kind of interesting, having the women play men, because that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And that just sort of happened organically. And Kate McGinnon did a lot of men and other things. Was that just sort of happened? You went with it. It's just a new flavor.
I mean, if you're me, you're always going to go with the funniest take.
Sure.
So gender isn't the issue. It's just who's got that voice.
Well, Kate had the audience in the palm of her hand,
And I
and
think
she was
Melissa
so great
McCarthy
that
played Sean Spicer.
yeah,
or
she
something.
played Sean Spicer.
Hilarious.
Which was,
And
and
she's-
Trump was furious about it from what I got.
Oh, was
really?
Trump?
Yeah.
They're taking it.
Well, I
it's
mean,
not
because
good.
it's like they're having a woman play you. Do you know what I mean? I think
wow, yeah.
very
not
old-fashioned
fun.
maleness stuff.
I think at some point he liked what Alec was doing.
He did?
No, I think at the beginning, maybe.
The first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, it was just unique because we knew that Alec obviously didn't favor his politics, and then he started to not like Alec, and it was a public thing.
Yeah.
And before it was sort of hidden if Daryl Hammond's doing Al Gore, no one really knows his politics or whatever. So that was a new kind of flavor as well.
Yeah, and also we did things that we wouldn't do now, you know, with John Goodman playing Linda Tripp or whatever, you know, like, so it was just,
Yeah.
you know, and I think you sort of, standards and boundaries change. And,
Yeah.
you know, things that you could do, you know, Franken did a
Frank can always stretch the envelope.
piece, I think it was with Garrett Morris and Julian Bond. And it was about, it was a black talk show, and it had a line about that light-skinned black people are you know, smarter than dark-skinned. Oh, God. It's just Franken.
Hello,
And
Franken.
Garrett would, say, you know, like, what? But what I'm getting at is we could then, there was no malice in it. It was just like that thing of what can't you say? And
You try
Right,
to
in
push
regular
the
TV
envelope.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when anyone gained 7 pounds the next week Farley was playing them. Yeah. That was like, his job was like, it was always brutal.
I used to say this thing about when you guys were filming, because you were up in Toronto, I was down there doing the show, and then I'd come up and whatever, but I'd say, I'd see dailies, and your way of handling stress was, you'd have a banana and whatever, and it would be like that. And Farley's would just be to continue. You'd lose weight, and he'd gain weight. But the weight in the frame stayed the same. It was always a constant. And it always looked normal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'd go back and forth from Toronto with Eric Newman on the flight with us.
Yes.
Where's his? Are you going to ever write a book, Lorne? Because Meghan Markle did.
No. I think the hard part is
you can't tell the truth, or you don't want to bury people.
Yeah.
And also, I think you go then when you get to be my age. Did that actually happen? Do you know what I mean?
You have to cross-check yourself too.
Well, it's just you go your memory.
Right.
I have a good memory. It's not that
incredible.
It's just like, well, what? Did that actually happen? Did somebody
100%? Because Dana and I even would tell stories, and we would disagree, and I'm like, God, you're right. And I go, I remembered it this whole time a certain way, and it was not. And it's just something that happens like that, so you just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why they do all that stuff in murder trials. It's like the people swear they saw this person leave, and no, they didn't. Yeah. And you just go, and then they execute you.
And you go, no, wait, we figured it out.
And when it comes to taking credit, I think it's a normal human thing to kind of trend your memory towards favoring yourself a little bit. But you want to cross-check it with other people. Am I remembering this right? Like, was there ever a horse on the show, or a horse on 8H?
Alive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, lots of horses.
Because during dinner, I was over in my cubicle arranging things, and I saw Keith Richard walking by himself, walking up to the horse, and he held the horse's head in his hand. He said, "Look at you. You're a fucking horse." I swear to God, that's what he said. And then he just went back to his dressing room.
Meandered back.
But I was thinking, did I remember that correctly? There was a horse.
The first time we did it was when Mr. Ed died. It was a news story. And Chevy could do Mr. Ed's voice. And Wilbur. So he would, Wilbur. Yeah. And we got the horse in the studio, and then he's interviewing the horse in the last interview, and he'd be doing both parts. So when the horse was talking it would be Chevy. Yeah.
Must have killed.
Chevy,
horses, giraffes. We had
monkeys.
We had a camel about 4 years ago. No, maybe longer now. And it got off. Every camel works at Christmas. It's not like you get hold of a camel.
They all work.
The manger
so there was
thing.
One. There was. They lied about how big it was. And Kenny Amon was
They're scary.
Kenny Amon. Hey, David.
So he came off the elevator, and then the hump. You can call it a hump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
The hump got stuck in the tiles of
it was so tall.
The ceiling.
Yeah.
So it was just stuck. There was no getting it there. And then we're going, but we're on the air. We have to get.
Yeah.
So I think they got a donkey and made it look like a camel. It was like that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's an amazing
Did
show.
Bill Murray punch Chevy, or is that a fake story from the old days?
They got into a fight.
They were
that was. And
3.
John, I think, provoked it a little bit.
I love John.
It was probably my mistake because I was bringing Chevy back to host. Yeah. But it was a season and a half after he left, and which just made sense. The musical guest on that show was the very young Billy Joel.
I love it.
And they got into a skirmish just in front, like
of the doors,
by the page desk. Yeah. And then Chevy had to come out and do the monologue.
Oh, wow.
So it was like
both 6'4", basically. Yeah. So
and it was just the show was sort of white hot, and it was John always felt in Lemmings, which is the time they'd worked together before the show. John was the star, and Chevy was not. And so, and was like sort of third billing. And Chris, is involved in that show too, Chris Guest, and you kind of go. So there was already like, this is how we see you, and then
Chevy took off.
exploded.
But Chevy was such
And
a
that-
monster
yeah.
star.
Also because he said his name, on
Yeah.
Update.
Right. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great one.
Yeah. Well, and he's a big dude, great looking dude.
Yeah.
Movie star by then, right? Coming back after.
I always tell people when I run into Chevy, we're going to have Chevy on the podcast. I try to compliment him, but sometimes he doesn't know. He's a little, but I tell people, if you want to know how great he is as a film actor, look at Caddyshack, where Bill Murray is in his full prime groundsman character with the mouth off to the side. And they're together going through this scene, and Chevy does his Buster Keaton or whatever you want to call how still his face was. And then his physicality, it's like a master class in comic film acting.
He gets beat up a lot, and
people forget what a
Seems
great
like old times
movie
was huge.
actor
Yeah.
and star. I mean, just
it's a thing. It was like
Showbiz.
such a huge thing.
yeah.
By the end of the first season, and it was like way too much to handle, and it became particularly hard for he and I because we wrote together, and so we were very close, and so it was heading in two different directions.
And then he became a movie star.
Sure,
But
he'd
then
wanna come
saying
back.
ever since he kind of, even when he would come to host, he'd say, "Don't leave too soon." He felt he wished
Oh,
he'd done
yeah.
more seasons because that was that
It
one.
was emotionally he wasn't ready to leave, and also he was that other thing, really proud of what we'd done
Yeah.
with the show.
Yeah.
So it
Then he had to see it still be huge and,
Yeah.
and
stay
grow
home
with
on
the Blues
Saturday.
Brothers and
Yeah.
Lorraine.
And when at the end of the first season, I won 3 Emmy Awards, one for Lily Tomlin and Richard Pryor thing I'd done the year before.
Nice.
And Richard Pryor, who I'd worked with, we had dinner at Dan Tana's. So, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. And he was offered a 3-picture deal at Universal, and he said, "This is what we wanted." Do you know what I mean? Comedians did not get movies,
Yeah.
Right.
and it was like, and I thought, I've just been through my championship season. It's not going to, I wrote everything I ever wanted to write at least twice in that season. So it was like, oh, you could get off stage now and,
Wow.
and I went, I can't do that. Everybody else has to stay for 5 years, what's that. But I think that if you'd said to me then that I would be still doing it and that I would have found so many other things that were there that I didn't know at the beginning, that were not part of the original design or whatever, things that it grew into or that it does, or that its influence would be just as strong politically as it is
And
music or
keep
whatever.
discovering super talented people
Yeah.
and being launched from your show to have careers.
Also, they kind of find us now.
Yeah.
In the 70s, you had to go out and recruit, but I think people.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I liked it staying alive because there was a time there, like obviously we were on. If you missed the show, you had to get the rerun 6 months later. And if you missed that, you had to catch. It was luckily on the best of in the summer, but there was a time there when people hadn't seen some of the old ones, and then it was on the E channel, and then now you can see it all. So it's
And
more people
what's
know.
interesting is like Emma Stone grew up on Best of Gilda Radner.
Wow.
And those sort of best of, all those best of, you're in them. I mean, but we stopped doing them because the VCR thing.
No,
Right.
it wasn't really.
Yeah.
There
there's
And
other
they're
ways
all
to
on
do it.
YouTube,
Yeah.
pretty much.
But people wore those out. I think Kate McKinnon had one of those.
One of the last ones, probably.
Oh, best
they had
of?
like
Yeah.
3 movies, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, Lorne, we'll take a 20-minute break and, get back to
And start
then
the
part
podcast.
two.
I just, we just want to thank you for
Yeah.
doing
And we
this.
didn't talk about anybody dying.
We didn't. There was a lot.
No.
Do you want to?
No, I'm good. I mean, but we were there for a lot of that.
A lot of big ones. Yeah.
2 of my bandmates for sure.
Yeah.
And I was just at Catalina Island, and that's where Phil's ashes are.
Do you remember John at the memorial?
John Lovitz?
Yeah.
Kind of.
What do you do?
just talked about Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But they couldn't have been closer.
Yeah.
And they could, that sketch, which was a Groundling sketch that we finally did.
yeah.
yeah.
What's the word on the street?
What's the word on
They
the
were doing the gangster thing so much before we premiered with the first show.
Yeah.
I remember Dynamite on his, did they do anything else? He was like, how you doing? What are you? What are they saying? What do you mean, what are they saying? They just did it spastically.
Love it. Still so funny. I see him all the time.
And in Three Amigos, I did it with them. That was
Yes,
that
yeah.
scene, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but John is, he's supernaturally funny. He's a
Do you see him? Do you see John?
I do see John, yeah.
I talk to him a lot. He's on the road or he's at a
doing
hotel with
stand-up.
Jerry, his dog,
Yeah.
Jerry Bruckheimer, and he's just there's only one John.
He still is
So
funny
you're
at
talking
dinner.
to Lorne.
One of the most naturally funny people.
He is really, and
Where did that come from?
people like when they see him, they all know him. He looks exactly the same. They all come up. I
And
love seeing
he
him.
came back to play somebody like 3-4 years ago
I love
in a
him.
cold opening, and he destroyed it for us. And I said, John, you got to make sure you're on your mark before you go, like that. And he was just off camera, just slightly off
no.
camera. The live audience was going nuts, but it
Oh,
wasn't, what I thought.
heartbreaking.
Because it's still all natural. Do you know what I mean? It
Right.
isn't.
So that's the moment he felt to do it, as
Yeah.
opposed to 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
get to my spot
Yeah.
and then do it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Hartman would have been on camera for sure.
Who?
Hartman.
Oh, Phil was, his binder was so meticulous. His office was meticulous. He was in so many sketches. And then he would just, in between takes or when we're rehearsing, he would just be looking at Evan
I
Root
couldn't believe he'd look at
motor.
something else. I go, you're not
He'd look
thinking
at
about this.
boats and his plane.
He had
and
it
was
wired. Yeah,
a
he was-
Renaissance person. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Smart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, buddy.
It's been great getting to know you guys.
Yes, it's nice to meet
I
you.
really feel like I know you now.
Yeah,
and
yeah, gotcha.
no, thank you for
I'm
doing
going
this,
now.
Lorne. Goodbye.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com.
We have a question here.
Great.
Who will take over for Lorne? How will the show adjust and move forward?
Well,
75 people asked this question.
Yeah, 75 plus.
From the same
We get a
email,
lot of
though.
this is a question we get a lot. Okay, I would say we did touch on it. I don't think he's going to want to talk about it because
No.
it means retiring, and I don't think anyone wants to retire. I don't know if
Right.
he can handle the stress or if he wants to give it away or if people will say, oh, ever since Lorne left, it's just a great excuse to say, oh, the show went
We
down.
did, and it was kind of a joke, but sort of serious. We offered ourselves up to take over as co-producers, and Lorne's eyes got real big, and he just went, right.
Right. And I said, or we could just take the money and we do nothing.
Just get the credit,
Yeah.
and then stir that credit and then work at the podcast.
And then just see if it does
I'll say
it on its own.
philosophically, off the top of my head, I do think it's tough to replace Lorne because he works in so many invisible ways, and that is the relationship with the bosses. Because for years, and we touched on this, but I don't.
Very complicated.
They're always when the show's ratings are down. Sorry, I had a little nip. When the show's ratings are down, they want to change it. It's got to be taped, or you can't. Lorne was so vigilant about keeping it exactly the same. That's why you go back, and it's a little bit creepy in there because it's like going back to high school.
It's cool. Now, the only thing different now when you go back is all the photos when you walk down that first hall are all so historical because it's every big star doing a big sketch, and you're like, whoa, all right here.
Yep.
All the history of almost 50 years. So I don't know. There's names. There's Tina Fey. They're perfectly capable if she wanted it.
Steve Higgins.
There's Higgins. There's Downey. There's who wants the job, who can handle it. Remember Apatow talked about it?
Yeah, he's a producer. I mean, Apatow could do it.
Maybe he wouldn't be as close enough to the show, so he'd get some resistance, but he
Lorne,
obviously knows what he's doing.
Lorne took over as such a young man. It feels like it needs young, and yet the show is already adjusting just culturally. It's evolving. When I was on, there was like 6 cast members. Now there has to be
600.
20 or 25. Well, they were 600 for a while. Okay, I'll ask you a question, David. Who would be the biggest surprise you could think of that would take over for Lorne? I have my answer, but let's hear yours.
No, they're all
The
so
biggest
offensive.
surprise.
They're so offensive.
Oh, they're offensive? Why are they offensive?
Because it sounds like they don't have a good career if I say their name. Like,
Well,
it's
no,
so
they're
funny.
becoming executive producers.
Okay, what's yours? Then I'll decide. I'll change.
John Lovitz. I'm
Line up.
producing now.
You?
You're in the cold opening. Do you know what a cold opening is? It's the beginning. No, that was my jokey
Maybe
one.
you should try acting.
So that would be my surprise one. But the
That
truth
would be-
is, nobody knows. It's 3 years from now. And but the 50th is.
We did talk about the 50th. Though.
And Lorne has not announced his retirement officially at all.
No.
It just feels like 50 is like, it's halfway to 100.
Dana, why are you pushing me out the door?
I just want your couch. That's what I told him. No. He's got popcorn. He's a popcorn guy. Tootsie Rolls.
Well, I
We
guess
actually
it's
don't have an answer for this
question. Is petering out, but
Yeah.
we don't like to stop talking. So thank you for asking, and the answer is we don't know.
We could have said 3-4 minutes ago, we don't know. Instead, we're narcissists and we like the sound of our own voice. So thank you, 75 plus.
Yeah, we want to cram one
all
more
from
ad
the
in.
same email address. You know who you are.
It's Lorne himself.
What did they say?
Lorne@lorne.com. Okay, thanks, guys.
Jesus Christ, what are you, the new Liberace? Put a new outfit on.
We're
David,
talking about
okay.
Spade.
Talking about Spade.
No, we're talking about
What have you been drinking? Malux?
we're talking about Paul McCartney, the Paul McCartney.
Yes.
This is our big, exciting first musical guest I think we've had on the show from SNL.
Well, I'm a Beatle fanatic, and the fact that we got Paul, I'd sent him an email very casually, because I sort of know him, I guess, and just gently said, we'd love to have you. And then what happened next, David?
I think we heard the next day. He said, do we do it on the phone or do we do it in person or how do we do it? And so we did it within a week.
Well, okay, so from my side of it,
Okay.
wasn't so easy peasy. Hey, a lot of moving inputs. I was going on vacation. I was driving with my
that's
wife, my mother-in-law who's Irish and stunning, and she's 91, and my son. And we're just driving through Wyoming, and we're just having fun on our way to Montana for a reunion type thing. And then our manager goes, McCartney can do it on Friday.
And they said, how's Friday for you, both of you? We both said, horrible.
It's absolutely couldn't have picked the worst time.
Exactly.
I'm in the mountains. I can't even hear him. Friday, McCartney, beat. So then I'm not vacationing anymore. I'm like, oh, so we're at this 3-star because we don't like fancy pants places in Jackson Hole, and the
where
Wi-Fi.
you can catch fish in the pool with your hand. Hey, I'm in Jackson Hole.
and then you just eat it. But the Wi-Fi sucked. And I'm trying to what am I going to ask Paul McCartney? And so I had to go up to the Four Seasons at Teton Village
cheap time.
and check into a room for the night. It was $1 million was the room. And so I went up there in a lightning storm. And then the next morning,
Jesus.
I'm at a little desk. I'm trying to get the laptop. We're going to Zoom in with Paul McCartney. I'm very kind of nervous. And then on the screen, I can see that David is having... You've flown
yeah.
to New York, and what's going on with you?
I
at that
was
moment?
heading to Sold Out. I guess that's not really part of the story. Show
Your sold out show?
in
How many
in
seats?
Ohio. That's not the point. And I was going there, and I had to cancel my flight and do this, and then go late to the show, and hopefully I make it. And then my Wi-Fi didn't work in my hotel, and it dropped out. The 10 minutes while we're on screen with it, I dropped out from you twice. So I just said, if I drop out with Paul, go on without me.
Well, I just saw like technicians leaning in, guys with beards. There'd be a beard and then a rubber band and then more beard. They were just leaning into frame. You're just sitting there, and it's like, is he going to make it? Our producer Greg is on the line. No, we don't know. Paul's going to pop up any minute. I don't know if you're going to be on it. All of a sudden, we see Sir Paul McCartney in our frame. Ooh, hello, how you doing? Doop-a-doop. So we spent a good hour talking to Paul McCartney, and
I didn't know if I could joke. I wanted to go, Paul, I'm kind of Dana's Yoko. I didn't,
No, I didn't either. That's the thing with famous people. You don't want to turn them off very early. So you're a little careful because you just want them to have a good time. We do get into what you Beatle fans love, and being one of them, is who wrote what when. We know there's Lennon McCartney every song, but who did what, where, when, how. And we do get into that with certain songs, and I realized that was really fun for Paul. And and they're lightning in a bottle. Lennon's a genius, but Paul did a lot with that band, and there was a period of time where he was the cute one, whatever. So,
and then I was going to say, oh, do you think you would have spelled the Beatles correctly if you had spell check back then? I did not ask him that. I did. I do remember two things. One, I paid about 5 years ago $125,000 for front row to Paul McCartney at a Sean
wait,
Penn.
125,000?
Yeah, I mean that's a markup. I mean Ticketmaster's getting ridiculous.
It's getting insane.
No, I was at a benefit for, it's a whole story, but for Sean Penn for Haiti, and you bid on these things, and I sort of accidentally was being bullied to go higher anyway. But I went, met Paul, great. He came out with his guitar in that little tiny trailer and was singing and talking, gave me a drink. Hey, have fun out there. So I knew him a little bit from that, which doesn't really count. And I also, in the old days, I took Brittany Murphy to Paul McCartney. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I
Well,
think it was a date. I don't know.
Paul and
asked her out.
after I hung
What a
up
great
at Jackson,
front row, second row.
After I hung up at Jackson Hole, Paul called me and said, "Who was the other guy on the Zoom? Because he seemed a bit dodgy."
Me.
Yeah. I go, that was David Spade. Oh, David Spade? What is it? No, he didn't call
the
me.
engineer. No.
Engineer.
I'm
And he
a
went,
professional superstar.
and I
Is that
went,
what I am?
I went, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And he went, do. And I went, do. So anyway, that's my Paul that he did do. He'll do a little bit on this podcast.
He was fun, though. I have to say, he was fun.
Charming,
and I was
fun,
very
and funny.
nervous.
Yeah. A lot of quips.
A lot of quips.
But
he
it
threw
was-
in some
it was a
Lorne
thrill.
impressions, of course, right?
He did go, you do a good Lord.
Yeah.
You'll find Paul is, he's just like a real person. It's like that thing of but Paul is, he holds the mantle of the Beatles very classy with it.
Yep.
He doesn't, you can't help but gush, and I do gush
It's
a little
hard.
bit.
Yep.
I gush a lot. Sometimes
the
I
most-
compliment you too much, and you get a little red faced.
You've never one time.
What I say, you're the greatest. Who cares?
You're always saying I'm like a young McCartney. Now,
I'm like John Lennon, and I guess I don't know.
what was I going to say? Oh, Paul. Oh, he's one of the most famous people out there, right?
I would
is that
say
fair?
globally, he's right. Who's more famous?
I mean, there's Mick, there's Paul, there's a lot of people that are super famous, and he's definitely up there.
And the challenge of this for us as podcasters
Is getting to start the podcast. We're not doing it
is
yet.
just not yapping like we are now. It's just to ask the guests questions they might enjoy, ask them questions that they can't ask themselves. Paul can't rhetorically go, I did a lot with the Beatles. He can't bring that
The reason
up.
I'm a genius is because, so we have
Can
to
you believe
sort
how many songs I've got? So
unreal.
But it is fun to set the table for him and give him his props. And I do think weirdly, Get Back did, and we talk about Get Back the documentary a lot. And I think it did couch Paul's place within the Beatles a little differently. So
All right, here
if
it
I were
is.
you, I would press play, and I would have forward past this a long time ago. So if you're still listening, I don't know who you are, but the actual interview is more interesting than these talking heads.
Here's Paul. Is that him?
It could be. It's a sighting. I like your environment. That's so cool.
I live in a good environment.
That is a wonderful
God.
environment, Paul. You got a kitchen back
He
there?
is spending the money.
Let me go scouse it for a second. Did you have a good brekkie, lad?
All right, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm just having my coffee. All right.
Instead of I'm having my coffee, you say me coffee. I love that. We're a little hyperbolic, just we're excited like anyone else would be,
Paul, please don't mention that I look like I slept on my face. Don't bring it up a lot because people are whispering
Yes.
already.
No, I think you look lovely.
I want to
Thank you,
to
bud.
make you an offer, Paul, before we start, just an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
But your people sent me flaming pie in 1997. You sent 200 vinyls out framed, and I got one out of the blue, and I treasured. I love the album, love that, and I happen to be in possession that NBC gave me as a Beatles, Capital Beatles, Meet the Beatles, signed by all four Beatles. and there's only 16
Whoa.
in the world. I don't know if that's true, but I will give it to you. I will send it to you tomorrow if you want me to. Because you sent me flaming pie.
No, you can keep it, man. You can keep it.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Dana, you can send it to me if you want.
No,
Or I suggest you send it to Charlie Finnan.
he's an Irish lad.
Oh,
Finnan's Irish.
Yes.
He's a bit of an Irish. So Paul, where shall we start? There's
Where
so
did
much-
you meet Paul, Dana?
Where did I meet Paul? I met him at Lorne Michaels' house in Long Island in 1986. Can we say it? And I was out there. I'd gotten cast on the show. I was nobody from nowhere, and it freakily got cast on the show. And then I was hanging out at Lorne's house. Lorne's very intimidating when you don't know him. You know, he's like, well, you will come out to Long Island and maybe you could take Jack's room. And I was Jack, and then it was always, it's where Jack Nicholson stays. So I was in Jack Nicholson's room, and then one day he goes, because he's friends with Paul Simon and our Paul McCartney, but he never tells you the last name. He goes, Paul's going to be coming by tonight. He makes you ask. I go, Paul?
Yeah.
Which Paul? He goes, that would be Paul McCartney.
Uh-huh.
So
That would be.
that was when I met you and Linda at Lorne's house, and you guys would put the kids to bed and come over, and we would chat when you played us a new song that had never been released. That was very cool. We had a chat about tug of war.
What can I say to that?
I know. These aren't even questions. We're just going to talk for an hour.
We're narcissists, so we just talk about ourselves. We're not good at questions. But you just speak to how you met Lorne.
How I met Lorne.
Or when.
I'm not sure I can remember. I've been coming out to the Hamptons forever because Linda's dad had a house out here. So, so how did I meet Lorne? It might have been on SNL. It might have been out here. There's loads of answers. I could pick one and sound genuine.
Doesn't matter.
In actual fact, I'm not sure. It was either at SNL or out in the Hamptons.
Yeah, you'd have to meet him at the show, probably. That's where most people meet him. Did you have to audition to perform on the show?
Yeah. I did. I sent him a tape, and he was impressed, and he asked me to come to his house, and I stayed in Jack's room. It's great.
Did you find it haunted like I did?
Yeah.
I just kept hearing a voice. Hey. What's the matter? Not sleeping so well in your bed? But now Lorne has been such a big part of our podcast because we celebrate all things SNL, and then Lorne kept coming up naturally with all the guests we've had, and he's such an enigmatic, interesting human being, but also incredibly funny, and he's kind of like the further you get from the show, the more you appreciate the job that he's doing, and I don't know how they may do it without him. I really don't.
Yeah. No, I love Lorne. And like you, I've known him a long time, and he's become a friend and not just the SNL guy, and so we can talk problems with each other and like friends do and can sort things out. But I think he's very funny and very laid back. It always reminds me of Jack Benny.
Yes.
I see that.
I think he molds himself on Jack Benny.
That sort of slow motion relaxation.
The very sort of laconic thing.
Very deadpan delivery, yeah.
And he has wisdom.
Yeah.
He really is very good at taking a big subject and putting it down to one sentence. Because I was at a low point in my career, as there were many, and I was having dinner with Lorne, and he just paused and he said, well, everyone knows who you are. You know, it was just sort of like, everybody knows who you are. Like, don't forget.
It's a very good impression you do of him, by the way, Dana.
Oh, thank you. I've had time to hone it. I was shy about doing it for him for many, many years. And then finally I did it. And actually everyone does a Lorne at this point, which Lorne knows. And it's a great place to be. It's somebody who's very relaxed. You know, like you're about to do a sketch and you're terrified, and it's during the commercial break on 8H, and he would walk up and say, and he'd have a glass of Chardonnay, but he wouldn't drink it. He would just hold it to relax you, and he'd say, "This sketch has to breathe." Yeah. And that was it. So he's great at just encapsulating things.
He would say things to me like that, and I didn't understand. But when Paul, do you remember this incident on SNL when Sinead O'Connor was on and she tore up the picture of the Pope?
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard about that. So when I was there, I was a writer, and I was walking by when that happened. I didn't know the severity and the heaviness of it. I just, from Arizona, I don't know anything. So she ripped it up. So I picked up a piece of it and put it in my pocket and kept walking. And then I come around the corner, and it's dead silent. This is the only time in history, you've been a musical guest there, that no one applauded, no one did anything. It's just dead silent. They went to a commercial, and I come around the corner, and there's Lorne holding his Amstel Light, and he goes, Irish. And that was it. I don't even know what it meant.
Irish people just tear up pictures a lot.
Yeah, I guess so. He's throwing I don't know.
So, Paul.
So, yeah, go ahead, Dana. Give one, because I was looking through all the songs, and there are some real toe tappers in here, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
out for toe tappers.
I'm looking at all these, and I'm wondering, because we do stand-up sets and all that. Do you, when you go on tour, it's got to be such a heavy deal that you have a set list, or can you change it, or how does that go about?
Yeah, you can change it. I mean, normally we get a set list in rehearsal.
Right.
Well, just so as the whole crew knows what's going to happen.
Of course.
And occasionally, if I'm feeling in a very fun mood, I will just say, we're going to do something now that the crew doesn't know about. And that's like a fun moment, and we just throw in some song that the lighting guy doesn't know how to light. But I mean, normally,
just keep on their toes.
Normally it's the same set. And then if we've been in a place, so let's say we did Fenway Park in Boston. We did that 2 nights on the run. So the first night we would have the main set. And the second night we'd probably alter a few of the songs in case someone came to both of the shows.
Ah, that's cool.
So we do that, we have the ability to sort of change the opening song, So that's normally what we do. We don't normally do much more than that. I say, because you put a show together, it's like putting an album together.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got it right and it's working and it feels good for you, I don't really see the point in changing it, unless for the reason I just mentioned, which is, somebody's seen it all once. And what happens is you end up, even the dialogue gets like a stage musical, because the dialogue is the jokes that work.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah.
I mean, you can try and do a complete new dialogue every night, but you might find it doesn't work quite as well. So what I do is I tell a story and I tell the same story. Because we got a guy who came to our show who holds up a card, 130. It means he's been to the show 130 times.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I love him, but I do say to him, it's slightly obsessive. But yeah, so that's the thing. But it really is a set list,
which we love. We love.
I have a follow-up. Listen to this. So, Paul, you're doing this. You know your songs. You've got them down. And if you have something new you're going to say in between, does that almost get you more nervous if you're going to tell a story or do something funny in between, because that's a little more unfamiliar?
You know what? I don't know. My theory about nervous and all of that is that when we first started, I used to get really very nervous. And I was trying to think why, because, we were quite popular in the beginning even.
Quite.
My thought was, I look at the audience and I think, they all hate me, so I've got to do something good. I've got to do something good to make them like me. You know, that was where my nerves came from. I think, you know, they're all looking at me like, what's he got? And over the years, I suddenly sort of realized at one point, wait a minute, they've all paid to come and see me, so they probably like me. And once I realized that they probably like me, I really relaxed. And, you know, just got... so, yeah, I'm quite relaxed now. And even if I do sort of new stuff or try a trick, I'm relaxed enough to do it. What I started doing a couple of years ago was like coming to an audience that really loves you. For instance, if you haven't been there before, which I love, if you go to a town that you've never been, because they're more excited, you know. And I would feel this energy coming off them, and it'd be like, oh God, this is so great. So I started off then saying, just a minute, you know what? This is all so cool. I'm going to take a minute to take all of this in for myself. And then I walk off the microphone and just sort of stand there.
Wow.
And they all go, ooh. Yeah. I love it. It's a great thing with the audience. But I just think, Jesus, I mean, it's a little bit flashed of me just not doing anything, you know. But that comes with the confidence of what I said, thinking, they've come to see you. So even if you just stand there looking around and going,
Well, Elvis in Vegas would just go and do a pose and just be Elvis. And they wanted to love him up so much, you know, before he got to the song. So I think that the time has passed so much and so many people love the songs that it is like a church in a way, you know, because how much the songs have touched them. I just want to ask you, do you have any rituals before you go out, something you eat if you want more energy? Like I'll have a little bit of chocolate. Do you guys do a high five in the band, or do you have any kind of stuff you're doing right before you go out? Because you're going for 3 hours, right? Or 2 hours, 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah. Yeah, we do. You know, again, all this stuff, you start off just doing a couple of things and it grows into a ritual. Yeah. You know, they all...
Because everyone expects it at a certain point. You go, let's just do this, then we go on stage, blah, blah, blah.
Ready, go. Yeah.
So what I do in my dressing room is my guy will come in, my show manager, whatever you call him, will come in and he say, okay, that's an hour. You know, in other words, you know, 7:30, you're going on at 8:30. So I go, okay. And start my preparation kind of thing. And so I do certain things. I sort of boil a kettle because I know I'm going to do like a steam thing. The voice, I do that. And then I do, for some unknown reason, I question it every night. I do, with the boiled water, I get a salt. I get salt in a cup and put like a brine solution, which I then gargle with. I've no idea if it does anything.
Gross.
You don't know where the idea came from?
It seems to work, right? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, you know, so I do a few things like that and then sort of get dressed and into the sort of stage stuff. And then about 10 minutes before we're going on, I will go into the band's dressing room and we then have a little sort of routine where we do Rusty, one of the guitar players, will play a C chord and I'll go, let it be, and they all go, woo, woo, with the harmony. So we just do a little burst of that, and then we do a little burst of Hey Jude, and they do the harmonies with that. And the guy comes and says, showtime.
Wow. I love it.
Scary. Yeah. How fun. Do you have, I saw Elton one time and backstage he had probably 300,000 outfits. Do you have probably less than that? And do you, because I'm like, Elton, can't you whittle it down to just 100 that you might wear tonight? Like they have literally every outfit in America in the back. And then he goes, that one. Or do they pick, or do you pick? Do you walk around and go, this one?
You're kind of pretty simple, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. pick my outfit, yeah, I've got a few. There's not an awful lot of variation.
Yeah, it's simple.
I've got a few jackets, few shirts, few trousers, and Beatle boots. So I can make that.
So you're still
choice.
wearing Beatle boots, actual Beatle boots, like with the 2.5-inch heels?
Makes you... Beatle boots, man. Everyone's got to wear Beatle boots. That's the sort of that's just one of the sort of great things, which is like sort of memories and all sorts of stuff for me. What used to happen with the Beatles was we'd show up in what we call our civvies, our street clothes. And so 4 of us would be different human beings. And then we'd get ready for the show. And with the Beatles, often we'd have the same uniform.
Suit.
So we'd
Oh, all together, yeah.
So, well, then suddenly we're transformed into like, wow, we're like a group. It's like, it's like military. You're like, wow, we're the same person. And the thing was that when we first started going down to London, we'd found this place that made these groovy Spanishy kind of boots with a heel. And so when you got your outfit on and you pulled these boots on with a heel, you were now taller as well.
Oh, it's a great look.
You were a 4-headed beast, but you were a tall 4-headed beast.
Yeah, you were like a 4-headed beast because it was the most amazing transformation in history because then you were just badasses, right? When you got out there and got into your groove. Yeah.
That was it. I've always liked that. And I always think, that's a good idea that you pull these boots on and you're a little bit taller. So I've become very used to them as well, so
yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
What's the thing you like to...
I wear Skechers. But because, Paul, 3 hours, I'm not a great stander. So when I do my stand-up, which everyone's excited about, but when I do my stand-up, it's an hour, and it's tough to get through an hour. 3 hours has got to be tough on you, but you seem to have absolutely no problem with it.
I blame Bruce Springsteen.
I blame him.
I do. I literally, I know him, and I say to him, "It's your fault, man."
Yeah, take it easy, guy.
5-hour things, and the rest of us look, measly if we do an hour. But the Beatles used to do a half hour.
30 minutes, of just hits.
Yeah.
Dig that.
And then they throw you throw you in a van and you just be 4 Beatles just flying all over the place.
But you know how that, again, it's lovely because you start thinking about what was the reason for that? Why did we do that? And I know that when we first started playing clubs and things, the promoter would come up to the comedian and say, "How long do you do?" And with the comedian, it was like 4 minutes. He said, you can do 4 minutes? Yeah, okay. So the comedian would do 4 minutes. So we thought, well, God, if we do like 20 minutes,
4.
it's a marathon. So we stretched it to like...
It's an eternity if you do 18.
But the songs were 2 minutes, essentially, in the early days, right?
Yeah.
Just bam, 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 she loves you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing was, John would do some of the songs, I would do some of the songs, George would do some of the songs, and Ringo would. So split that through 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, hardly done anything. So,
You shouldn't even get paid for that. That's barely
I don't know how you play the bass and sing like you do. A lot of people are amazed by that. I tell people who ask me about the Beatles, I say, well, if Paul McCartney was only the bass player, he would be indispensable. You do other things as well, but I just love the way you play bass.
And the thing is, I never wanted that job. Bass player was the worst job in a group, and it was always the fat guy.
How is a fat guy?
Well, you were exotic because you were a lefty, and then you had that Hohner bass for so long that it became sort of iconic and it seemed pretty and lightweight. But what did you find it difficult? Because you can't just strum; you have to hit all the notes perfectly, and Ringo has to stay on time. It seems awfully difficult, but you took to it. Did it take a bit of time?
It was I had a lot of practice in Hamburg. We had a lot of practice. So, you know, it's that 10,000 hours thing that, you know, I started off.
Malcolm Gladwell.
And I did start off playing like the fat guys played, which is.
Tunk-a-tunk.
Sounds very
kind of country western almost. Yeah.
But eventually, when James Jamerson came along, the great bass player, and started going. It's like, whoa, he's got a melody going. So that really turned me on. So I completely changed and, you know, just enjoyed being a more melodic
riding around the neck, riding up and down. And, you know, because Love Me Do, I got to say, is a very simple bass line, but that's what that song required, I guess. But that was probably your simplest bass line.
Yeah. And it's funny because we do that in the show now.
You do? Oh, awesome.
We do that in the show now, yeah. And it's funny because you've got a little auto cue in case if you've got some of the songs have got a lot of lyrics. And so it's kind of handy to just check what
you
the next verse is.
Yeah.
Love Me Do, I find myself looking at the auto cue and it's the same chorus. It's Love Me Do every time.
And then you went to Please Please Me, which seemed like such a leap. Please Please Me was kind of your next your top tenor, you know, which was pretty sophisticated from Love Me Do.
Please me.
Oh, yeah. No, and the thing about that was, again, looking back on it, is that it was all directed at our fans. Because, you know, we were new to this whole idea of fans and autographs. It was wonderful and new and wow, you know. So Love Me Do. So there's the personal pronoun. So the next one is please, please me.
Me.
Then there's from me to you. And then there's she loves you. I want to hold your hand.
Was this intentional?
I'm looking through you.
Huh?
I'm looking through
you.
So it's really trying to reach directly the fans. I think I should do more of it these days, actually.
Let's do a redo.
It's a good trick.
I saw you.
Wait, I have a question for Paul, real quick.
Love it.
Did you know Elvis? Did you see Elvis out back in the day?
We met him. Yeah.
Was there any competition? Or was he just sort of big here, and then you got here, and it's just two different things?
Well, you know, we loved him. He was like the start of everything to us. We're in Liverpool. And, you know, you're listening to the radio or seeing the TV, and it was sort of old-fashioned kind of music or, I don't know, novelty songs and stuff. Okay. But then suddenly rock and roll came out. And so this creature.
A creature.
Presley,
yeah.
It was like unbelievable. He was so good looking. His voice was so amazing. The way he danced was so incredible. So, you know, we just loved him anyway. And loved him mainly. We loved him all the time. But after he came out of the army, we thought they ruined him because they put trombones on the record and things like that, which we weren't that keen on. But we met him. We tried to meet him a lot, and eventually we went to the house he was renting in LA. And we all showed up there and like the forehead.
Good God.
Again.
Yeah. And
knocked on his door. And there is where it goes strange.
Oh, really?
Because my memory is Elvis came to the door and let us in. And Ringo says, no, we didn't. No, somebody else let us in.
Someone else let us in.
So I'm going with my memory anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he was fantastic. He was really cool. We thought he was just so good looking.
He was voted, by the way, do you know he was voted the most handsome man of the 20th century by some poll or some magazine?
Yeah, well.
That Elvis. So the best looking man can also sing better than any human being.
I mean, it's too much.
It was
too much.
You know, so he was lovely. And he started playing on a bass. He picked up a bass. So I thought, well, here's something I can talk about. So, you know, we talked a bit of bass. And then he he had, what amazed us was he had a remote, because in England they didn't have remotes for your TV.
Oh, sweet.
So this was the first remote we'd ever seen. So he put his thing in his hand and he goes, and the television channel changes. We go,
Sorcery. Yeah, how crazy. Yeah,
and he
that's
was playing
funny.
this record, Moher Sam, who played that over and over, Moher Sam.
How did that go?
yeah,
Mohat
Charlie.
Sam, Mohat Sam. What was that song? Mohat Sam.
Moher Sam by Charlie Rich. It's great. It's
Oh,
a good,
okay.
good song. So yeah, no, it was magic, meeting him. And so we loved him and everything. And I continue to love him to this day, even though he tried to bust us to Nixon.
What?
This
was that when he was a sheriff or something?
tape of him saying, those Beatles, they're Americans. He's been busting us. And I'm going, Elvis.
I'm telling you, I don't trust no Beatles. I'm telling you that.
I still love him anyway. But yeah,
Oh, yeah. Did you go see him ever? Did you see him go live?
did what?
Did you go watch him at the Hilton or anything?
No, I never saw him live. No, well, we only that meeting, but I never saw him live. But he was great,
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you guys got in the same room, that must have been pretty. You're probably both nervous, to meet each other in a weird way.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Have you been has anyone talked to you since Get Back came out, the documentary? Probably have done some interviews. We found, what's your feedback from the fans? I mean, I found it just revelatory and amazing and brilliant. I just loved it. And we were seeing you guys up close. I remember you, just the work ethic of you guys and the chemistry between the four of you sitting around. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Was it surreal? I mean, if there was video of me in my 20s doing stand-up, there's no record of me at that age. And you're watching yourself at like 27 or 8. But how did you find it? I mean, you enjoyed it, right?
Well, it was kind of magical for me because that period had, in my memory, had always been a little bit dark because it was to do with the Beatles breaking up. So the first Let It Be film was cut a little bit with that in mind. So I found it a bit depressing.
Yes.
And I never wanted to watch the first Let It Be film. And so when Peter Jackson was slated to do this version, I said to him, Peter, I'm not sure I'm going to like this because, I got blamed for breaking up the Beatles. And in actual fact, it wasn't me.
No.
And I've been trying to explain that to people for years and years. And he said, well, okay, you took it on board. But then after a couple of months he'd been working on it, he got in touch with me. He said, it's not like that at all. He said, it's amazing. He said, it's just these 4 guys in a room and you're having fun and you're working together. So he sent me a little clip, which really saved my life.
Nice.
There's a little bit where John and I, I'm working on She Came In Through the Bathroom Window.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just strumming on the bass and John's on the piano. And at the end of it, I say, Mondays on Tuesdays on the phone to me. And I go, hello, Tuesday. How you going? All right. And John immediately picks it up.
Yeah.
Tuesday, he's coming round. I can't remember what he says.
Tuesday's coming over.
We gave this little routine, about if I'm ringing Tuesday. And I thought, oh, God, yeah, that's how it was. It was fantastic. So, I loved it. I really loved it. And, with Peter, what do you call it, remastering it.
Make it so shiny and bright. And
Making it sharp and everything and the sound and all of that. It was like having an old home movie of yourself.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But perfect. And, and I forgave myself when I saw that. Because I'm thinking, no, everyone's messing around. And we're all messing around. We're goofing around. It's not like we haven't got to do anything in a month's time with these songs we haven't written yet.
14 songs.
So, but...
what were you forgiving yourself about? Yeah. Why did you feel you had to forgive yourself?
I thought I was too bossy. I thought that would be the problem. Was that, but when I saw the film, I'm not being bossy at all. I'm just trying to get people to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
I got that.
I'm just trying to get us, come on, guys. It's 2 weeks off, So people have said to me, you'd ask about feedback. People have said to me, well, someone had to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Someone had to be that guy. So I forgave myself, let myself off. I thought, yeah, that's all I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to be pushy, or I was just trying to get the work done. And the other aspect I thought was great is that the way we just goofed around.
That's what I loved.
You think, but John Cleese had a thing where it was work as a tool. No, play as a tool.
Yes.
So in other words, you're goofing, and then you come to do the thing. So, yeah, we messed around with the songs so much that it made them not intimidating. We'd done them as jokes. Hello, Tuesday. So when you came to do the song, you weren't as frightened as you might have been. It was just this stuff you've been goofing around on.
I don't want to interrupt that flow, but sometimes you guys would, to release pressure, I guess, is sing some of your brilliant songs from the years previous, but in a funny voice. And that always struck me that was very funny. You all would do that. I mean, you just...
Again, that's the thing,
You take the wind out of it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd forgotten that we did that. Yeah. I kind of knew we did it, but I'd forgotten the specifics. So Peter's film then just shows us working on the song Two of Us. And John and I tried to do it like it's just the fact that, and we don't just do it for 2 lines.
No.
We do the whole bloody
goes for
song.
Minutes.
And we're looking at each other, and that spirit was always there from the minute I met John.
Yeah.
Till the minute the Beatles broke up and beyond, actually, there was always that sort of, we're just 2 guys goofing our way through the world.
I think sense of humor connects young cliques and friendships more than anything, because that sensibility of what is funny and how are things funny, and you guys had it together. You could see all 4 of you kind of knew when it was getting good. But I totally relate to when I'm working on something of wanting to get away from it, because you're sort of problem solving and it gives you a headache. I've got a feeling. And then you go away, go incredibly goofy, and then come back. It was really fun to watch. I'm so glad that is in this documentary.
No, I must say I was so pleased with it, because all the things we mentioned, the way the picture was beautiful. It looked like it could have been shot a week before, except it has this beautiful color.
Gorgeous.
These colors, the color grading is beautiful. The sound is amazing.
Yeah.
All the things that Peter's team did were so great. And then I say, the way I was able to let myself off the hook and just think. And the thing is, guys like you who are in the business, you all you and other people who I've met, they talk about what they liked about the film was seeing the process.
Sure. It's riveting.
We would call the process. But,
Well, we were glad to know that there was the work ethic. The genius part comes in, I'll use the word here, is knowing when it's good.
Yeah.
And so you guys, not quite right. And then you would look at each other and get feedback. I always say collaboration is affirmation. It's not that they're writing the chords. It's like, yes, that. And it comes out where George was a little persnickety about, I've got a feeling. Is a song called I've Got a Feeling? And then later on he came to you and said, it's getting quite good, just little moments like that. But yeah, the process was just work ethic and going until it's good.
Yeah.
And don't stop. Yeah.
And we didn't know where we were going to do it. It was maybe going to be Libya, or it was maybe, going to be on an ocean liner.
I know.
In the end, it was just up on the roof.
Oh yeah, that was. I think you guys looked the coolest. That rooftop show, the beards and everything. Was that the last time you did a gig together? Was that it?
Yeah, that was the last time we ever played live together.
But all the fear was gone. All the fear was gone by the time you guys. It was emancipatory watching the struggle creatively, and then watching you guys in the pocket immediately, like just so zoned in, and then you're looking at John smiling. He's looking at you like, damn, we're good. You could, at least that's the way I saw it. Like, holy shit.
That's true, yeah. And then John's doing a song and he doesn't know the words, so he just gets Kevin to hold the bit of paper. Just the way it was not important. We're just making a film on the roof. Yeah. Even though it was very important.
Yes.
It's a big film, but being able to treat it like, this doesn't matter, was a secret with the Beatles.
The people that are like me and newer that every year goes by, there's just certain clips you will see of you guys, and they're the ones from TV. And so to get such a huge chunk of your life, it's not just a photograph. To get hours of you just sitting and talking, you get like, who would ever think they'd get to see that? If I saw it of myself, a day in my life, 20, 30, 40 years ago, like not just a picture, it would blow my mind at what things I'd be looking at. I don't remember any of that. I do remember that. Yeah. It's so riveting and authentic.
And one thing, Paul, you were like, any songwriter goes through periods that are up and down. You were kind of on an upswing around that album. And I think when you were, like sometimes Ringo or people would stop and sort of look, and I think you were doing Long and Windy Road or something, and everyone, the studio would get kind of quiet, like, uh-oh, what's he got now, So you were in a kind of an upswing creatively at that time, right?
Yeah, and it was funny because if you're on a creative upswing, the awkward thing is, like I was saying, I didn't want to seem like I was bossy. The awkward thing is you don't want to be the guy with the good songs.
I see.
You want to just let me sort of squeeze these in and shuffle them in between other songs. It wasn't totally true, of course, because George was coming up with something, and there was all sorts.
Well, Abbey Road was being hatched out there, and then you went in the studio a month later, and then you get this work of art, Abbey Road, where everyone came together one last time in such a brilliant way. So that's arguably right up there with any of your albums with your lads.
Well, again, the nice thing about it is that John, you could see John could tell I was coming up with like sort of, Let It Be and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could tell. Yeah. A friendly competition, yes.
I had to sing it a bit po-faced. I couldn't go, let it be, let it be. When I find myself, I had to be like, this is serious. Good old John, he says, and now, hark the herald angels sing. He has to take, right before the take.
Yeah, he's got to
take the piss.
Taking the piss out of you. Yeah.
And then I've got a straight face. I've got to try and do this song, selling this lovely feeling.
With someone making faces.
Well, do you underplay it when you play it just because you don't, it's not like showing off? You're like, that's an interesting concept. Yeah.
I've never come into the studio, well, mind you, none of us ever have, and said, I got this great song. Just come in, we play it and stuff. And, that was the great thing about John. He often did that. He'd try and take the mickey. Just because
right before you. Well, they were brilliant songs, and but you asked him in the documentary. You said, "Have you got anything?" You were asking for more ammunition.
Yeah.
I got these, but have you got anything? And he goes, "I got a real, something. It's going to be a basha." Kind of a non-answer, really. But he, when you guys did "If I Fell" 2-part harmony, and you sang into each other's faces, and it's such a love song. You guys couldn't keep us. It must take a long time to you look at, right? If I fell in love with you, and you're looking at each other. How did you get through that? The song is wonderful, but how did you guys get through that take?
I don't know. I don't know. Some of the time you didn't get through it, But then, it's like you've got to straighten up at some point just to make the record. But now that I think the humor, like you said before, the humor from the word go
Yes.
of meeting John, that was what we loved about each other. And again, you couldn't say you loved each other.
No.
Because you're Liverpool guys and you're trying to be hard, and you're trying to be tough. All right, man, yeah, it's okay, yeah, it's not bad. So you never really praised each other at all.
Right.
But you did it with humor.
Yeah, and that was the Beatles.
You just goofed and sort of said, yeah, it's all right.
That's what John Lennon had said about Pete Best. To your point, he said, why? He goes, he wasn't a Beatle. And the Beatles are humor. Ringo is really funny, and George, and all you guys were so funny together. One thing I want to ask you about, which I find interesting, like if John writes a song and then he shows it to you and you're going to play bass and you're going to write some really cool bass. And did he ever just sort of go, hey, thanks for the bass part? Because even in She's So Heavy, some of the stuff you're doing on Abbey Road, because after these remasters, we finally got to hear your bass and Ringo's drums. That's why the Beatles are still evolving as an idea, because everything is. But your bass playing on some of his songs, I mean, he must have really loved the riffs you were coming up with for Dear Prudence or Come Together. Maybe you did that little first part. I don't know which ones you did.
Yeah, I think so. The thing was when we wrote them, like you say, he'd come to me or I'd go to him. That was 2 acoustic guitars.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no question of bass. Bass came later. That was like an afterthought. So that, and Come Together, that was a special circumstance because he came in and he basically brought in a Chuck Berry song. Chuck Berry did a song called You Can't Catch Me.
Okay.
Which starts off, you come old flat top, here you go. It's the exact opening line.
Yeah.
So John brings in, I remember we're in Abbey Road Studio number 2, and John comes in there, he says, yo, listen to this one, I've got this, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom. Here come old flat top. And I'm going, John, stop. That's You Can't Catch Me by Chuck Berry. He goes, yeah, I know, but it's good though, isn't it? And I said, well, no, we got to do something with it. So that was a case where we had to get it out of that Chuck Berry tempo. And, you couldn't change that opening line. It's just such a good opening line. And John had to pay Chuck Berry for using that later.
Okay. He come on flat top. He got
early
groovy
sampling.
like slowly.
Yeah.
So you wrote that bass, that that was the opening. You wrote that bass line.
That was on the session. He comes in, chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka. No, got to say, how about we slow down? And we go,
Boom, boom.
boom, boom. We've got to do that. And then bingo. And suddenly we had this swampy groove. And then John just said, hey, come on, flat top. He started singing on top of it. And it just all came
it's
together.
one of the best. Okay, it's one of the best openings of a song, and also him going.
Yeah, that is.
He goes shoot. I mean, that is just when you guys record that shit and you hear it back in the room, or you go into the engineering room and and you hear it back and it's so right. What a high that must be.
It was, man. Yeah. I must say.
What about writing it? I mean, the words are so crazy. Do you guys just try to out crazy each other on the lyrics, or did you write the whole thing, or does everyone just throw in something?
No, it's a funny thing. I listen to songs these days a lot, and a lot of songs make sense. Whereas, we're going, here come old flat top, you got Juju Apple,
Groovy like slowly.
The realist. And the truth is, because we loved that kind of art. We liked the realism. We got it. We liked the sort of crazy words and stuff. So, whereas we would try and write songs like Let It Be or, more sensible songs kind of thing.
Yes.
We also loved the crazy stuff, and so, yeah.
Well, everyone tries to figure it out too, which is even more maddening.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, that's the thing. I think what was good about it is that if you look at all the Beatles songs,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully my songs right through,
Yeah, for sure.
there's no two that are the same. Whereas you get a lot of recording artists who will, you know, we used to say the Supremes were great, we loved them, but it was stop in the name of love,
Right.
or baby love, and you know,
Yeah.
it was kind of the same record, just, you know, they kept the same style. And we always tried to switch it. So it'd be like,
Oh my God.
Come Together,
Yeah.
Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
A day in the life, or you know, here, there, and everywhere. She's leaving
Now,
home.
Paul, if you do something like A Day in the Life, or even like later with Admiral Halsey, I'm just thinking of random ones, but
Yeah.
when there's so many layers to them and so many change ups, I don't know as much about music as Dana.
I don't know. I don't know anything.
But it's so interesting to listen to. Like, where do you stop? Where do you think this is it, or where is it too much? Because you always seem to land on exactly what it should be, and we don't know the other versions. But it must be tough, or with your bandmates, to say, "I feel like this is it," or "We need one more this in it," because they're so mystical the way they come together and stop and start, and the arrangements.
I mean, that in those kind of songs, that normally just happens in the writing. You know, luckily, unlike a lot of people these days, a lot of people will go in without a song. The discipline that we sort of learned was you had to have a song, which does make a lot of sense.
Yes, and we have recordings on the Escher tapes. We have recordings of you guys working
But,
out the
you know,
songs.
all of those songs like Day in the Life, we knew that was going to happen. Oh, well, this bit comes now. And so we had the framework. And then with me, like Live and Let Die, you know, I knew that was going to be framework. Or Uncle Albert, we were talking about.
Yeah.
You knew that framework. And then you went in and gussied it up kind of thing, you know.
I put Live and Let
Yeah,
Die
I mean, the
up. Sorry.
solid Gussie.
I put that up with Goldfinger. I think that is it.
Oh, Live and Let Die
It
is
goes
unreal.
so avant-garde with the like keyboards in the middle. Dun 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 dun. It's a
And in concert, you got the lights going, explosions.
And we got all the explosions and that.
Yeah,
The
it's
guy-
great.
The guy who does our explosions, our pyrotechnic guy, is called Shaky.
perfect.
Good old
Oh,
Shaky.
you know, you're not gonna feel any heat. I promise you.
Is Day in the Life, was that sort of, it's hard to pick a number one. Was that voted as the best one, the favorite for the fans?
It's pretty damn good. I mean, what happened was John came to my house in London, and I've got like a music room up on the top floor. So he came up there and we sitting around, and it was his song essentially. And he starts doing this, I read the news today, oh boy. And so we're working into that. And then after that, we're going to go to a second verse and then all that. And then we get to the bit, I'd love to turn.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at each other, thinking, we're really being naughty boys.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to turn you on.
Were you allowed to say on? That was probably pretty controversial.
It was a bit, you know, yeah, but it was like we knew as we looked at each other, we knew, yeah, we've got to do this. And there was this little conspiratorial look between us. It's like, oh, yeah.
You're getting away with it.
It was always good to throw in something a little bit naughty. It's like, you know, it took you back to being a naughty schoolboy.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, doing something that was a little bit. But no, that was a great song to write.
What about when it goes ba-boom, ba-boom, psh? It's just like, it's got sort of a haunting feel to it when you're singing.
I mean,
at the
Ringo's
beginning.
Toms. Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Ringo's Toms. And then woke up, got out of bed. All of it fit together so beautifully. It's just one of those magic things. I guess you can't predict it. You hope, but you know what I find interesting? We only have so much time. How much the medley has gone into higher esteem as later on with your fans on the side 2 of Abbey Road that you put together. with you and John, and it sort of is like worked out to be a perfect mic drop for the band. And in the end, so that whole thing is, I love it every time I'm on XM listening to the Beatles channel and that comes on. And stereo and cars are amazing now, so I really feel like I'm hearing it like maybe you guys did or something. But that piece of music is extraordinary.
That's not Golden Slumbers where he goes,
oh yeah, that's all in there.
When you rip that out, that's
you never give me a
no, I mean, what you might say, one of the great things about technology is that if you go into a museum, you'll see Winston Churchill's old papers, and they get older and crinklier as the years go by. Beatles stuff gets brighter and sharper and more wonderful because of technology. So you can suddenly hear it in surround sound. And you can hear every single little thing. And that continues.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
You're hearing all these little details that you kind of didn't know were there. So I think that's a kind of great thing.
I think the Beatles
some people say, well, why are you remastering all the time? Why'd you do that? They say, I like the original.
I know, who comes up to you?
I want to meet this person.
Doing?
What are you doing with the remasters? There's plenty good enough.
Yeah.
Shit.
And it's like, no. It's really good. In fact, we're just about to do, I think it's Revolver. And I was with Giles Martin, George Martin's son, who's kind of in charge of all that stuff these days.
Giles Martin.
And it's pretty amazing. The details. It's lovely.
Revolver is another one. It's hard to pick. There's so much genius flying around, but Revolver was very special. When I went back when they were remastered, I listened beginning to end. And that one did kind of stay in my head a bit. There was some kind of revolution going on with that, I mean, you had Eleanor Rigby on there. I mean, it was just.
No, it was time. It was a good time for us creatively, because, as I said earlier, it's like we knew we didn't want to repeat ourselves. So, I would come up with Eleanor Rigby or something and bring that
401, another one. This is
and
great.
George Martin would sort of say, listen, this would be great with just strings. And the others would all agree. I mean, when I brought in Yesterday, I played it to the guys and sort of said, okay, not like, what are we going to do? And the Ringo was saying, well, I can't put any drums on it. And George, well, it doesn't need any more guitars. So it was just me on my own. And George Martin came in and he said, a string quartet would be great. And I said, no, it wouldn't.
Wow.
So you stood up.
We're a rock band, man. But he was very clever. George was the ultimate producer. He said, well, let's do it. And if you don't like it, we can take it off.
He was such a gentleman. When you see him walking around, even Get Back, he's very well dressed. And there was just this gentlemanly quality about him. Very calm.
You're lucky you didn't have Colonel Tom Parker.
That wouldn't have been.
That's the difference between you and Elvis. He had bad management.
I don't know how much time we have, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of your recent stuff.
Yeah.
Egyptian Station, especially the song I Don't Know. And it seems like journalists, who really cares what they think, but it seems like they're a little more enamored. I mean, your peers are not putting out this kind of stuff. McCartney 3, which I just loved. I always like specific compliments. A Deep, Deep Feeling is such a magical song about the fist fight in your head between the light and the dark, is the way I look at it. And also All the Pretty Boys is so sweet. But anyway, you've just been so, you're just going at it. And you have your book of lyrics, 1956 to the present. And then you've got your album. Then you just did a tour, and Bruce Springsteen's your friend. How cool is that? He's, fun seeing you two in Glastonbury together playing.
Yeah, and, I feel very lucky because of that, because, and I'm a little bit amazed at the fact that I'm still into it.
Yeah.
Because, I sometimes just think, I should be jaded by now.
For sure. I am.
I should be fed up with this whole thing. But, each time I do something like McCartney 3, which is basically just lockdown fun, that was something to do.
Lockdown Fun. That should be the name of the album or the subtitle, Lockdown Fun.
Yeah. But, DP Feeling was very indulgent because it wasn't going to be an album.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just me playing around in the studio. But, I love what I do. I feel very lucky to be a songwriter. It hits me occasionally. I go, shit, I've ended up as a musician. I've ended up as a songwriter. I never intended that. I was supposed to be an English teacher.
Well, you're teaching us all how to keep going. There is no reason to stop. And these songs you've come up with recently, Queenie Eye from the new album, I think you're in another kind of upswing creatively these last few years. And so it's remarkable and amazing. And we love you because we can say that now because it's 2022, because your music tells us who you are and you're sentimental and you're sweet, but you also, deal with everything we all deal with, And so it's been...
Well, I'm glad I came on the show because, I'm getting loads of adulation and you can duel anytime.
Paul, every question we do sounds like the Chris Farley show. I do have to say that when you did the sketch with Chris
on Saturday Night Live, that is a classic.
Such a great one.
I know, that was so lovely.
Yeah, and everyone was in a jealous rage quietly watching that he got to hang out with you, and it was one of the highlights of his life. He said right after. And it was so good. I like when he said, "And in the end, the love you take." And he said, "Is that true?"
Is that true?
And you go, "Yeah, I like that. Like the thing." You played that so well, by the way, in the sketch because I rewatched it the other day, and I was like, "Look at Paul plays this perfectly." Because it's hard. You could screw that side up too, but you did great.
There's a couple of things that was like my favorite SNL thing, and then I did a thing with Martin Short.
Yes, I watched that last night where you're playing the triangle.
I really love that,
And Martin Short was trying to break you. I mean, he was so committed, screaming at you that you can't sing, screaming at Paul McCartney, quote unquote.
Hilarious.
It's hilarious. And then that was such a cool transition. And the thing opens, and then you go and play Christmas Time. Yeah. That was so. Will you be at SNL on the 50th? I guess, have you picked out what you're going to wear? That's in 3 years' time.
I'm going to wear Beatle boots.
You know what? If you are, I'm going to wear some too. I'm going to wear some too. I want to be 5'10" and a half.
I'll take 5'9" and a half, whatever. Just
we want to be 2.5 up. But anyway, Paul, this has been such a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Paul, thank you. Every time I see your show, you give 1,000% for people to go see it. It's such a great, everyone, they know all the songs, sing along, and it's such a blast. Look forward to seeing you again, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, man. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you, boys.
All right.
I love you.
We could say it now. I love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. All right, Dana, we got a little AMA. Ask us anything.
Let's do it. AMA, which means
AUA.
Master.
Ask us anything.
Ask us anything. Wouldn't that be ask?
It's usually
Us,
ask
US,
me.
it should be AUA.
Yeah,
ask us anything. What's the M for?
It was ask me anything. That's the term.
Ask me anything?
But it's us.
I don't trust this.
Jose Sanchez Fournier. I knew a kid named Fournier.
Jose Sanchez.
From Puerto Rico.
So Sanchez is his middle name?
I don't know.
His last name is Fournier?
Shit, that should be the question.
Fournier.
The question is, love the podcast. I like they start with that. Smart.
Thank you, Jose.
You're both great interviewers. We found out that was a lie.
This is
the lie detector. That was a lie. We're not great interviewers. He says, have you always been that way, or was it something you developed as your career evolve. Keep up the great work.
Geez, well, first of all, I've got to take a moment. I'm getting vapors just accepting the premise that we're both great interviewers, and how do we possibly do it and keep up the great work? This guy's the nicest. We got to send him a fly on the wall coffee mug.
Yeah, we got to get our merch going.
We
That's
don't
a real
have fly on
question.
the wall
Where's the
coffee.
merch? Do we get questions about merch? Yes. Okay,
David, you want to
do.
answer this first? Because I have my own answer.
I think we are okay interviewers, but we're good at talking over each other and we're good at laughing at our own jokes. And I think that is important.
If a great interviewer is talking about yourself and over talking your guests after you ask them a question,
cutting
if
them
that's
off.
the definition of a great interviewer, then we are, David.
Exactly. We had to take a cutting off class. We said, whenever they're about to say something really interesting, make sure you stop them in their tracks.
When we have a guest in the studio, sometimes I just want to reach out, grab their neck, and just start squeezing. Would they shut up?
Shut up.
'Cause I
no
wanna
one's
talk.
here to listen
But
to you.
I've learned to temper that violence.
Yeah.
I'm verbally violent.
Sometimes the guest leaves and Dana and I do another half hour. I go, did they take off?
Well, sometimes we don't roll cameras or mics, but David will just interview each other over and over for out to the night.
So, Jose, thank you for asking. And
Yeah,
we take
well-
your comment. You started with a flattering thing and ended with a compliment.
And so we're not
I like
all sarcastic. I do find sarcastic, new word. I really find people fascinating, and I like interviewing people. And I think everybody's got a story. And so if you like it, I think we're improving and learning as we go. But if you like it and say it's great, I'll take it. But we're not there yet.
Honestly, we do actually try to not talk over each other and not to cut people off. But we get excited and we don't want long pauses. And I don't know.
Well, podcasting is about authenticity. And so we authentically overlap each other and talk over them and interrupt them. So we're just being very podcasty. But I noticed, David, just a personal observation, that your research level has kind of
gone up.
Yeah, you got a lot of questions. So we're both learning. We've only done 365 of these. No, how many have we done?
Probably 50.
But I would just say we're a work in progress. Thanks for the good cheer, Jose, and we'll try to get better.
And we already took our class on how to answer questions longer, so we're really doing well there. Thank you, Jose. We'll see you on the cast.
Ask another question someday, Jose.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.